John. Holy shit. I got breaking news. Breaking news, John. Are you ready?
Ready.
News is breaking.
Okay.
It's time for another Rage Select podcast.
Oh, shit.
I know. Who expected it? As out of nowhere.
It's like
Sunday.
the Spanish Inquisition.
No one expects the Rage Select podcast here on Rage Select. And I'm Jeff.
I'm John.
And John, we got two. What's your record is 3 in a row, right?
Yeah, because you don't want me to be on that many podcasts in a row.
I don't want to wear the people out. I don't want to wear you out. I don't want to. I don't know. I just variety is the spice of life. I was listening to another podcast. Do you know? I find it difficult.
You listen to other podcasts?
I know it's weird. It's like
how dare you, sir?
No, this is interesting. I actually would like to put this point out. I'll ask you first, and then I'd also like to ask the people out there. I don't, outside of the Giant Bombcast, right? Do you know of a good weekly video game podcast outside of the Rage Select podcast?
You know, back when I used to hardcore listen to podcasts, it kind of like there were like good ones, but then like they stopped. Like maybe they'd miss a week here, then they'd miss a couple of weeks,
right?
And then their website would shut down.
Yeah.
The Giant Bombcast is really kind of the only one that's
the only game in town outside of the Rage Select podcast, except we're coming for you.
Yeah, but I never listened to that.
We're coming for you, Giant Bomb. No, I mean just like a recap kind of news.
Yeah.
Because I was listening to this other. I was listening to Michael Swaim apparently has a podcast.
Oh, okay. I have no idea who that is.
Previously of Cracked. He used to be.
Okay.
He was the stupid guy in After Hours, right?
Okay.
And it's called Small Beans, I believe. He's got like a little podcast network, and him and his buddy were talking about Destiny, and it was one of those things where I understand. I understand it, but you know when you listen to a podcast and people are saying things, and you're just like. You just want to virtually run into the podcast studio where they're just like, come on, you're missing the obvious answer. Anyway,
pretty much every time I watch you play a video game that I'm not, or Let's Play that I'm not on.
There you go. Yeah, I know. It's weird though. But if anybody has a recommendation for a good podcast that goes over gaming news like we do, I would like to listen to one.
And when you provide that answer below, make sure to be as mean as possible to Jeff.
No. They did that last week. This time I want them to be as sarcastic as possible.
Okay. I'm just saying, I was a little disappointed. Like, yeah, there were some mean ones and there were some good ones.
Right. Mm-hmm.
But I felt like there weren't enough to make you cry. Like, you seem to just laugh at a lot of them. And I'm just like...
Yeah.
You guys aren't trying.
John, I spent, 4 years recording with Jason Murphy? I cry in the bathroom in between when we go on break. That's what I do.
I know.
Okay.
But that's how I know I did my job.
Right, exactly.
No, I'm just saying.
Well, it's so mean.
Though I'm actually like the least mean person on the site. Maybe, next to Matt Frank.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah,
that's actually, that's the hardest part that I have with finding co-hosts is I'm like, there's nobody out there who's as good at being mean to me as Jason, except for possibly Amanda.
Yeah.
Like Amanda's a close second at being mean to me. So anyway, it's time for the Rage Select podcast. But before we get into the actual gaming news, of which we have a ton this week, so we're not going to spend too much time. I have a couple of things that I would like to discuss.
Okay.
One I think would be of great interest to you, John.
All right.
Last week, I haven't been to Taco Bell in a while.
I go to Taco Bell regularly.
So last week, I went to Taco Bell, and Taco Bell's new thing is they've finally done the thing that, for years where we've all been like, oh man, I go to Taco Bell and get some burritos and then go to McDonald's and get some French fries. Like, bada bing, bang,
yeah.
But now you can get your fries at Taco Bell.
With cheese to dip them in.
Mm-hmm.
They're all right.
They're underwhelming as hell.
Yeah. It's like they covered them in the same stuff they put on their Doritos Los Tacos.
Oh, yeah.
They cover them in that, and then you get cheese.
Yeah.
And it's just like,
Well, my biggest problem is the fact that the only size they have is petite.
Yeah, it's like fucking tiny and few in between. It's like, look, I need Del Taco style fucking fries with my goddamn burrito.
Right.
I don't know if you ever ate at Del Taco when they briefly had Del Tacos here in Austin for all of like 5 minutes.
No,
Del Tacos are awesome. They're pretty much like a little bit better Taco Bell as far as the quality of their food. Like they're slightly like they're just like a half a rung up.
Okay.
But they also have French fries, and they're the crinkle fries, and they're so fucking good.
Well, and the other problem that I have, and this may sound like a really petty concern, but stick with me, ladies and gentlemen, is the box that they put them in, because they've got this very like low fronted box, which has the double duty of one. It encourages the person putting the fries in to put fewer fries in, right? Like if you have a tall box, right, you can just fit a lot of fries in there. Like I like to go to pizzerias, they just shove them in a plastic, like a wax paper sack, you know. So I felt like, even though they're 99 cents, and I don't want to be like, because people be like, Jeff, just order 4 of them. And I'm like, that's not the point. I want one large fries, not like a bunch of little ones. And the other problem is that with that low swooping front, by the time I got them back to my house, they were lukewarm at best. Like there's nothing to keep the heat on the fries, and anybody who's eaten French fries.
I think those were the same like things that they used for like the naked chicken chips or whatever, or you know, other types of things that they've experimented with,
right?
Of that ilk.
The naked chicken taco.
No, the chips.
Right. Oh, the container.
Yeah.
No, I think the chips came in a bag.
Oh, I ordered it all the time. They never came in a bag for me.
Okay, well then you probably know better than I do,
but yeah, no, it's like even for 99 cents, the amount of fries you get in there, I could go to McDonald's and order like a small fry, and there's way more fucking fries in that small fry for almost the exact same price, if not the exact same price.
Also, and I know that there's going to be some listeners out there who are like, Jesus Christ, these guys would just quit talking about Taco Bell.
Never!
I was really surprised that along with the fries, that there wasn't like a burrito that had French fries in it. I figured that would have been, maybe that's the next step. Like the nacho fry burrito, the nacho fry taco, where it's like, you know, meat and then nacho fries and then like some cheese and then some color of sauce, and I don't know, put some pico on there to make it seem like it's healthy, so that we could be like, oh no, look, it's got vegetables on it. But yeah, I've been disappointed. Also, I don't know if I've become a weak old man, but like, man, I had some rumble gut for like a day after eating at Taco Bell. It's just like,
it happens,
fuck.
Especially if you went to the one by closest to us. I mean, I don't think it's the best Taco Bell in the world.
I got one that's a little bit closer to me, but
is that the one by Wiener Schnitzel?
Yeah.
I know what we're talking about. I know this area. I live in the same neighborhood.
I feel like somebody out there who's trying to like figure out where Rage Select is. It's like another piece of the puzzle.
There's a Taco Bell and a Wiener Schnitzel right next to each other.
It's near the. There's 2 Taco Bells. I can triangulate with the Taco Bell finder. And yeah. Anyway, if that's you, when you figure it out, please don't come to my house. Please don't show up on like a Saturday afternoon and just be like, hey man, I want to play some video games, and be like, you gotta make an appointment. You gotta get them, you know, contact my social secretary, who is just me. Anyway, so that was one thing. We also got a really good trailer for Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yes.
Which reminded me kind of how much I just liked. I didn't like Ant-Man at first when I first saw it.
I loved Ant-Man when I first saw it.
And I feel like I started liking Ant-Man more after seeing Civil War, because I feel like seeing Ant-Man as the comic relief amongst the other Avengers being real serious and stuff, like, gave me more appreciation of that movie as a whole. But this trailer looks real good.
Yeah.
I like turning the building.
Still a lot of jokes.
Yeah.
I have questions about that building.
Mm-hmm. Where did the wheels come from?
Well, no, I actually kind of think I know how that works. But just, you know, like, did he have to design a giant building that was made to look like a briefcase so that when he shrunk it down, it became the briefcase thing?
Yeah.
Or did he build like a miniature building and then grow it to full scale?
I don't know.
Or is it some combination of the two?
I can't answer these questions. I like, though, the way the Wasp looks. You know, we got a teaser for that at the end of Ant-Man. I really like the who's the guy, who's Pym?
Paul, yeah.
Michael Douglas?
Michael Douglas.
I really like how wry he has been in the first one and in this one. I like when he's like, you must have invented the wings and the blasters.
Well,
after.
I just like it's like you gave her wings and blasters. Blasters?
Yeah.
Oh, you must have not had that. You must have had that after you gave me the suit. No, I had it before.
Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, it looks good.
I feel like
fun.
outside of showing off the Wasp,
Yeah.
they're not really showing anything new per se. Like it's nothing too like if you've seen the first movie, what you're seeing here isn't too crazy.
Right.
They had a brief shot of one of the villains from the movie, which is interesting.
I'm not familiar. See, I'm not familiar enough with Ant-Man as a comic to know who
the villains actually
are.
the two villains that are in this actually aren't from Ant-Man.
Oh, okay.
They're from Iron Man.
Oh, okay.
Because Ant-Man's really only major villain was the one from the first movie in Ultron.
Oh, was Yellow Jacket?
Yeah. And since they removed Ultron from his canon, so it's
all right. Hey, it still looks good.
they got to pull from other places.
Coming in July, it looks like. This looks like what I want out of a Marvel movie. I like the fact that it's not too. It looks like it's just a little. One of the things that I've really enjoyed about Ant-Man is I like the departure from Stark and company, right? Yeah. Is that a lot of, especially like the way that Civil War came together with Captain America and Iron Man and that stuff, and especially with the Avengers, they're very Tony Stark heavy, and I think that's one of the reasons that I really liked Thor Ragnarok is because it was like off doing its own thing. The same reason I liked Guardians of the Galaxy is like I felt like there were different branches where I feel like a lot of the center stuff that we get between Avengers, Iron Man, and Captain America all kind of feels a little similar, and I like that Hank Pym is like fuck Tony Stark.
Oh yeah, no, he
sucks.
hates. He's
fuck Stark. Like I control ants, motherfucker. Like what are you talking about? But anyway, I'm interested in seeing this, which I think is kind of
I thought the trailer looked great. Ant-Man is probably really high up there in my movies for Marvel. So
yeah. And last but not least, last night I got done with all the things that I needed to get done, and I had some time, and I wanted to watch a horror movie, and so I started looking online, and I watched Wish Upon last night.
I think I know of that one. I haven't seen it.
I think that it's a big thing. The Red Letter Media guys did a 2017 movie wrap up, and at the end of part one, Mike was basically like, "This movie is so terrible. It's so stupid and cheesy, but then it's good." And it's basically just Final Destination meets like Mean Girls.
Yeah.
As this girl gets a Chinese wish box that when you make a wish, it grants your wish, but it kills somebody close to you. And it takes a while for the protagonist to realize that that's what's happening. But oh man, it just keeps moving, and it's real stupid. But it was not like the Red Letter Media guys are in my opinion, they're a little snobby. About like they really like it when movies they're kind of like what I would think of as a print movie reviewer, like the Mark Savlov that writes for the Chronicle, except that they dress like the dumpy VCR repairman. But I feel like they like highbrow stuff a lot more than they like just kind of schlock. But that it's also fun to make fun of schlock. I didn't think it was quite as bad as they said that it was, but I thought it was fun. It just kept moving along. Like I was like, holy shit, like 3 people are dead, and it's like 20 minutes into this movie. And it keeps going and getting stupider and going and going. And yeah, it's on Amazon Prime right now. I don't think it's on Netflix or Hulu, but I want to say specifically, do not pay money to watch this movie, because it's bad. And then I started watching Rings, because that's now on everything. It's on Hulu and Amazon. And I got about halfway through that movie, and I was just like, fuck's sake. Do you... like...
I haven't seen it, so...
I talked about this before.
I heard it was bad, though.
When the trailer came out, right? The concept, the idea of bringing the Ring franchise into modern day has so many great places to go.
Yeah.
Like, the Ring video is on YouTube. What happens now? Like, people are rickrolling each other, but with the Ring video and getting each other killed. It's like this big thing on the internet, and then it becomes like people moving away from a technological society because you can't tell when you're going to get shown the Ring video. Oh shit, it was actually on the news at one point because they didn't realize what they were showing. And then like, oh, the government's got to step in and like, what's going on? And maybe you have like government run groups of people who are doing the literal Ring thing where they're like making copies of the thing and everybody's watching the copies so that they can keep people alive.
I feel like you put way too much thought into this.
No, but to me, that's the obvious way to go. And it's another fucking, I watched the video. Let's go find out more about Samara's past. And I'm like, really? Like, because my favorite movie outside of the original Ring in that franchise is the Japanese Ring Zero. That's barely a horror movie, where it's more about Sadako when she was like a teenager getting bullied in high school because she's weird and has weird powers, which is why she ends up being and it's kind of like this weird morality play about, like, does she use her powers to get back at the people who bullied her, or does she, like, kind of take the upper road and endure their abuse, and how is this going to work out? And then it reminded me that I watched the Sadako versus Kayako, the Ring versus Grudge movie, and that was just fucking wackadoo crazy as well, and I loved it. And I'm just like, there's so many interesting things. Did you know that there are 3 Ring versus movies?
No.
There's Sadako, there's Ring versus Grudge, and then there's Ring versus this Chinese horror movie franchise, and then there's Ring versus this Korean horror movie franchise.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either. But I'm like, of all these things, I mean, I was watching Rings, and like halfway through, I was just like, "Fuck, I'm bored." I'm like, I was watching Wish Upon, and it was fucking stupid. Ryan Phillippe plays the saxophone in that movie, and Sherilyn Fenn gets killed by a garbage disposal. So, like, there's that at least. And then I'm watching Rings, and just like, fuck. So, I guess that's what I'm saying is don't watch Rings. Do watch Wish Upon.
Okay.
Anyway,
a movie I watched for the first time the other day.
Tell me about it, John.
It's a horror movie too.
Oh, okay.
John Carpenter's Prince of Darkness. I'd actually never seen it before.
It's been so long since I've seen that movie.
That's a really good movie. I feel like people. I mean, I know it has a cult following. Like all of Carpenter's movies have a cult following.
Is that the one where it has at the end? There's like a big machine, Cthulhu machine, like chasing Sam Neill or something?
No, that's Mouth of Madness.
Oh, okay.
Which that's my favorite John Carpenter movie of all time.
Okay.
No, Prince of Darkness. So there are 3 movies that people refer to as the John Carpenter Armageddon trilogy, which is The Thing, starring Kurt Russell,
sure,
Prince of Darkness, and In the Mouth of Madness. And it's basically movies dealing with different types of apocalypses.
Okay.
Like The Thing is very much an apocalypse that could be caused by an outside alien presence that Kurt Russell fights.
Yeah.
In the Mouth of Madness is the apocalypse brought on by Cthulhu-style madness, insanity, and a writer rewriting reality and things like that. This movie is very much like, religion is real. Here's the science to prove it. Also, the devil is the devil, who is not actually the devil. He's referred to as the anti-god because every atom has an anti-atom or has an antiparticle.
Right.
That's the exact opposite. So if there's a god, there has to be something else.
Right.
And it's trying to break through into our world, and basically the Christian religion, everything that the religion is built on, is all true.
Yeah.
But they've embellished some of the stuff a little bit to hide the fact that they've got essentially the son of the devil trapped in a jar, a goo jar, that they're trying to keep it secret, and they're trying to keep it trapped in this jar, and they don't want the rest of the world to know. It's
maybe not a jar, church. Maybe put it in like a metal container.
It is. I mean, it's kind of like this metal container.
Okay.
But it's a really slow paced movie. I think that was the first thing that caught my eye, is that everything is very slow burn to get into it. Every shot is long pan shots. It's wide angles. And it probably has a 16-minute long opening credit sequence.
Wow.
It just shows clips, and then credits are like, oh, we're still doing this. I thought we were already into the movie. Okay, let's.
All right.
It kind of takes a while to get into it, but once it gets into it, it kind of, shit starts happening, and all the characters feel like fully fleshed out characters. And the more interesting thing about it to me was that all the effects are practical effects. There's no digital or touch-ups or anything. It's all 100% on the camera.
Okay.
And they do some also Alice Cooper plays a character in it.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah, he plays an unnamed character in the movie.
Well, this is 87, so this is before you would really have any real digital effects. Right?
Yeah,
So-
but I mean, but the big thing is that, because I think he had just come off of doing like Big Trouble in Little China, and then this was his next movie, and he wanted to do something small scale, as in like, it all takes place in one building.
Yeah.
Outside of, for most of the movie. But he didn't want to do any like extra effects or computer graphics, because if you think about Big Trouble in Little China, there's like lightning effects and
yeah,
and like puppets that have to be brought in. Like this is all like everything you see is how it's filmed.
Okay.
And it's pretty good. Like I actually was. I don't know if I should be surprised at how much I liked it. I guess I was surprised at how much. I never heard people talk about it.
I think I was thinking of In the Mouth of Madness.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever actually watched this.
But yeah, it's a pretty good movie.
Okay.
Like I like it takes a little bit to get going, but it tries to explain religion with science.
Okay.
And it takes some stretches. Like if you're like, well, that's not actually science, but whatever.
Right.
Or you're going a little bit of a stretch there. But it's really interesting, and it has some really interesting implications about what who Jesus was and things like that. And it's I liked it. It was really good.
Okay. Cool. All right. So there's some horror people are writing in from time to time asking for horror movie recommendations. So there's a couple. All right. Well, let's get into it. Speaking of nope, I got no segue. Sorry.
It's okay.
Video game news time. And we're going to start this week with some Overwatch. Specifically, the latest Overwatch developer update. Now, I think that people may or may not have remembered that, what was it, like 3 months ago? They had one of these developer updates, and the Jeff Dude or whatever his name is.
Jeff Kaplan.
Was basically saying that they were going to they wanted to try to like address toxicity in their player base.
Okay.
So they've done this by one of the things that they did was they added the ability to report people on the console, which was not there before, which it is now. And apparently they've had in their metrics they've had like a 15 or 20% reduction in like people being shitty in like chat, right? But they've also had a 15 to 20% increase in the overall number of reports, which they account to just specifically the fact that these tools are integrated on the consoles now, which is no big deal. The thing that's a little strange, and the thing that I want to talk about, is that they've talked about proactively looking for people outside of the Overwatch platform on social media.
Yeah.
And then tracking those people back to their Overwatch ID and proactively disciplining them.
So like they're watching them on Twitch, looking at their YouTube channels,
Right.
looking at their Twitter accounts, and some of it is they're looking. I'm going, well, these people are kind of shitbags on Twitter. Let's take a look at we know that they're big proponents in Overwatch, so
Right.
we can figure out what account there is. Let's see if their history and see if they're shitbags in the game too.
Yeah.
Oh, they're not. All right, we'll leave them alone then. Or they're kind of being shitbags in the game too. So let's just go ahead and.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a strange.
It's a slippery slope.
It's a strange thing. Like I'm all in favor of banning cheaters. I've been on here. If you cheat in a video game and you're just up there to ruin fun for everybody, I think that you should just have your fucking. It's like Marcellus Wallace. Your fucking Overwatch privileges have been revoked. Like but on the other hand, I worry the scenario of you're an asshole on Twitter. We don't want assholes in Overwatch. You say assholish things about Overwatch on Twitter, but you haven't done anything in the game, but you're banned because like it's just one of those things in the modern day, which I feel like is a much larger conversation about how much accountability there should be between your public social media presences, right?
Well, do we know that they're just blindly banning them from being assholes, or are they just going, okay, this person's being an asshole on Twitter, so let's look at their account and let's kind of monitor it, and if they're being assholes in the game, then yeah, we'll ban them. But if they're not being assholes in the game, we'll leave them alone.
See, I don't know. Me personally, just as an old school human, I feel like that I understand why they're doing this, but there's a part of me that gets real twitchy about like if you want to ban people for doing shitty things in Overwatch, ban people for doing shitty things in Overwatch, right?
Okay.
Like not that once you start to assess a person's character by moving outside of because you're essentially attempting to assess their character in Overwatch to keep them from being a jerk in Overwatch.
Yeah.
So and I don't have any like I don't have any evidence or anything. Like there hasn't been an example, because specifically in this, did you watch this developer update?
I did not.
Specifically in this developer update, he's like, we actually do a lot of different things to try to track down people who are going to be bad. And I won't even tell you them, because if we tell people what they are, then the people that are trying to misbehave will then look for ways to circumvent those systems in order to misbehave.
Yeah.
Which I can understand, but the problem is that it puts a lot of trust in Blizzard that nobody is abusing this system. And I don't know. I'm almost at the point now where there's a part of me that understands what they're doing and thinks that erring in the side of in over policing the community is preferable, because people that do want to be crap bags on the internet will read the rules and find out what is subsection C paragraph 4. Here's the loophole so that I can be this kind of crap bag, and they can't technically ban me because I wasn't technically. I didn't say you should go to hell. I just said go to hell generally, but everybody knows that you're just being I don't know. It's weird to me because I don't like the idea of a world where every single thing that you put on Twitter or Facebook or YouTube or whatever can then be tracked back to you. Like, I hate the idea of employers looking at your Facebook page.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
Because I even hate the idea of employers looking at your credit score, because to me I feel like that's irrelevant to you.
That is irrelevant
as a person. But so this sets off some of Jeff's like crotchety old man anti-21st century alarm bells of just like, maybe just ban people in Overwatch for being bad people in Overwatch.
Yeah. Okay.
On the other hand, I did watch a video. People may or may not know that John Cheese, formerly from Cracked, is now writing for Brian Brushwood. And I followed him on Twitter, and he linked to a video that was it was just a compilation of this guy team killing in Call of Duty World War II. Like, that's what he was doing. Is anytime anybody tried to set the bomb in a bomb match, he would run up behind his own team, hit them with the shovel to kill them, and then take the bomb and set it for himself. And I was really amused, because I remember when I was young and I used to do stupid shit like that. But I don't know. Anyway.
Before we move on, can I say one last thing
Absolutely.
about Overwatch?
Sure.
I'm so excited that the Houston Outlaws are doing really good in the tournament.
Are they?
They are fucking wrecking shop.
Nice. Well, that's good. That's an excellent segue, because as part of this story, there's another thing where during one of the competitive Overwatch League games, let's see, one of the London Spitfires, Park Prophet Jun Young, flipped somebody off on camera, and the Overwatch League fined him $1,000 for like unsportsmanlike conduct, which again brings up some really interesting questions to me of like, who is the Overwatch League separated from Blizzard? Are they a corporate entity that is separate from Blizzard, or does Blizzard
Well, I mean, they own it. It is like a subsidiary or whatever. It is Blizzard is. They're all in person. Like, it's all again. Right. I understand why he's getting fined for that, because that shit's getting aired places. It's a middle finger, though, man. Like, it's not like he took his dick out on the air. Like, I can understand if he took his dick out. It's the same thing as someone playing a basketball game and flipping the bird, being unsportsmanlike in a basketball game or a baseball game or a football game. They're trying to get this shit taken seriously. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. And also, those players are paid a shit ton of money to play this game. I think it's 2018, and in my mind, like, flipping the bird is one of the like least offensive gestures that you could make. Like, I don't know. You may be right, but still, I totally get it. Also, it might just be the $1,000 seems like quite a bit. But I guess if you're going to try to enforce this stuff, whatever. I don't know. I am interested to know if there are people out there with opinions on this. But yeah, I'll tell you what, everybody is going to have some opinions about. Or, speaking of unsportsmanlike conduct, let's talk about EA for a bit. All right, so we got a bunch of different EA things to go over. EA had an earnings call where they talked about a few different things. One, there's going to be a new Battlefield this year. Of course. Which, Battlefield 1 came out in 2016, so it's about time. Yeah. There'll probably be Battlefield 2. Do you think that they're going to just direct sequel? Or is it Battlefield 1, 2?
Battlefield 1-2,
Yeah.
Battlefield TWO. There was already a Battlefield 2, wasn't there?
Yeah.
That was the
There's
modern
Battlefield,
one.
Yeah.
Battlefield 1942, Battlefield 2, Battlefield 2042, Battlefield Vietnam, Battlefield Hardline, Bad Company 1, Bad Company 2. Anyway, so anyway, there's going to be a new Battlefield this year. It's out of the bag. We're probably going to see the same thing that we saw at E3 last year, where it's a teaser trailer before E3 and then a main trailer at E3, and then we'll probably watch Snoop Dogg poorly play against Terry Crews or whatever bullshit they come up with this year.
At least they let Snoop Dogg play in that one.
Right. Anthem is now officially early 2019. There had already been a rumor to that effect, but it's out this year.
The funny thing about that is, like, there were reports a long time ago, people going, yeah, I don't know where that date came from, but the original date that they were saying, or it was coming out in this, or Christmas of 2018, or whatever it was that they said.
Right.
That there were people like, no, we are nowhere near that.
See, that's interesting because there was another story where there's a specific quote of them saying that, like, this isn't a pushback due to development. It's a scheduling thing because they've apparently been hitting all of their milestones for code complete or whatnot. So
yeah, there's been some. They say one thing.
There's a problem. There's no way to get a good answer out of what the fuck's going on inside of EA. But anyway,
also in regards to Bioware is a whole other thing.
Well, that's true.
They're apparently, from what I've heard, is that it's every team is working on Anthem at the moment, regardless of where they're located, and it's basically the idea is that if this doesn't do well, they are shutting down.
Which, considering EA's track record of what Origin, Pandemic, Bullfrog, like, EA loves to buy beloved studios and then shut them the fuck down.
Visceral.
But, okay.
Visceral.
So also, Visceral. Yep. Respawn's Star Wars game has been pushed to 2020, fiscal 2020, which ends March 2020, but could probably, if I had to make a guess, I'd say Anthem, early 2019, Star Wars Respawn is your holiday 2019. Maybe. I don't know. There was also a little bit of talk about PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds and its impact on the Battlefield kind of model. They were very kind of like dismissive of like, well, we don't think Battlefield players want to play that style, which I think all you have to do for that is look at Fortnite and how Fortnite was just kind of like, and then they put in their Battle Royale mode and everybody was like, yay, I love it. To think that...
So much so that they shut down another one of their games.
Yeah, yep. I think that somebody might get up into the boardroom and smack somebody and be like, do you see how much money? Like, if we had a Battle Royale in Battlefield 1, which is already made to accommodate a large number of people and it has weapons and stuff, like if we made 4 Battle Royale maps for the next Battlefield game, like, holy shit. It seems like a no-brainer. Like, somebody's got to get up against PUBG at this point, and I don't think that Fortnite's going to be the one to do it.
Yeah.
And let's see, there was another one that was, when they talked about moving Anthem, and this is from Blake Jorgensen, is that who it is? I love this quote, John.
Go for it.
Let's say. They talked about this is from a Game Informer article. Jorgensen insisted that they do not look at the new date as a delay and that pushing it back was only done for scheduling reasons, with Jorgensen explaining the game has been hitting all of its development milestones. That's what I was saying to you. And here's this quote. It doesn't make sense to release Anthem next to Battlefield, he stated. And I'm like, oh, so did you guys actually learn something from putting Titanfall 2 in between Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty? Did you actually learn that if you take a game with a multiplayer component and shove it between the 2 biggest multiplayer game releases of the entire year, that's not a good place for an untested property? Fucker. I am so angry with them because I know that at some point they're just like, well, I guess nobody really likes that Titanfall franchise. Put Respawn on Star Wars instead of working on the next Titanfall game. I thought Titanfall 2 had a really good story campaign and also a very fun multiplayer campaign. And I'm really pissed that it's like the dumb female superhero argument where they're just like, well, we tried with Catwoman, but people just don't like lady superheroes. And it's like, no, they don't. made a shit ass movie, and it's like I guess people just don't want to play that Titanfall multiplayer. It's like you put it out between Battlefield and Call of Duty. You put it out in the week between Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty. Like you can't. Anyway.
Yeah. No, I agree with you completely on that. Though I never played, Titanfall 2, so.
I liked it. I liked the beta. I liked the multiplayer beta. I liked the single player. I played a little bit of the multiplayer. I liked it. I thought it was a fun game. And as you would probably expect, when loot boxes were brought up, here's the quote: "We do not believe that loot boxes are a form of gambling, and a lot of countries agree with us. It's not just us; the entire industry and the ESA agree and are helping to explain to people what those are. People are enjoying games all the time that some are misconstruing as loot boxes or gambling." Which is a segue into the fact that apparently we're getting the loot boxes back in Battlefield 2.
Of course. I mean, we knew that we were going to.
Yep.
They had said that they were going to reintroduce it back into the game at some point in the future. So for people to be like, no, it's not going to happen, that was short-sighted.
I always thought that it would go back in. It's one of those things where I just get really, really, really fucking irritated because the reasoning that's been put forward to this is that they expected Battlefront 2 to sell 10 million copies and it only sold 9 million copies. And this has just given me fucking flashbacks to Square Enix's CEO stepping down because Tomb Raider only sold 3 million copies instead of the 12 that they thought it was going to. Like 9 million copies. Like remember people at home, 9 million copies at $60, and they don't get all $60 and there's tax and whatnot, but approximately $540 million is what you're talking about. This is not chump change. This is not stupid garbage. Like, this is a lot of money. And so the idea of just like, well, we didn't sell that extra million, and so we got to turn on the loot boxes. It's so disingenuous to me that like.
Well, what's also hilarious about it is what was the primary reason that they didn't sell much? Because people were pissed off about the loot boxes.
Fucking loot boxes, yes, exactly.
So then you turned them off and like, well, they still didn't buy it because they were pissed off about the loot boxes that we turned off. Well, I guess we should turn them back on because.
I'm wondering whether there's going to be a time when Battlefield 2 ends up like No Man's Sky. Like if they could get somebody to like come in with a vision to straighten that fucking shit out and like apologize to the players, change the way that the progression works. You're going to piss people off.
If it was an independent developer like the people who made No Man's Sky,
right?
Yes, that could happen. This is a company that they're going to be like, all right, let's cut our losses and move on to the next thing.
Well, it's DICE, and so they've already said there's going to be a new Battlefield. Yeah. DICE is going to make the new Battlefield game. So anyway, what a shame, though. Just what a shame, because it looked like it had so much promise. But then the problem that I have is that even if they were to fix the multiplayer, it still wouldn't fix the game, because you still have a game with a shit-ass single-player storyline. Like, I have no desire to go back and ever play the single player. Iden Verso is now just another throwaway garbage Star Wars character with a stupid story. And, you could say, if the multiplayer was acceptable, which it kind of is, depending on how much in the loot boxes thing, you'd still have half a game. Like a really solid AAA game that you want to pay $60 for is a game with a good single player, and then when you're done playing, the good single player that introduces you to the mechanics of the game. Titanfall 2 is a perfect example. The missions in Titanfall 2 were crafted to have you use different mech types or different virtual mech loadouts and stuff, and different powers, and to get you used to moving between on footing your mech and whatnot with an engrossing story. And then when you're done and you're like, oh, did you like playing that game? Well, here's the multiplayer. Now you can play more of it. You can play it versus people online. It's a different thing. But even if they were to fix the multiplayer, the story would still be fucking stupid garbage where Kylo Ren shows up at the end. Anyway, sorry.
You seem upset.
This is what Star Wars fans should be upset about, not The Last Jedi. You should be upset about how EA has taken Battlefield and just dragged it, and they continue to just drag it around behind their car like a fucking, pile of garbage. Anyway, let's move away from the evil that is EA and talk about the evil that is Microsoft, and how the evil that is Microsoft might be looking to incorporate the evil that is EA into their evil ranks. to make it
So
even
I
stronger.
want to start off by saying this is hardcore rumor
Yes.
and speculation.
Yes.
This is not this is not to be taken like as fact and as is going to happen. It could happen,
Right.
but it's highly unlikely.
So the story here is that this is an internal leak that the people over at Microsoft were like, "Hey, motherfuckers, we need some goddamn games. Like we need some single party exclusives. We're getting our lunch eaten on that front, right?
Yeah.
So maybe we've been trying for 4 or 5 years now to kind of get the Xbox games division working, and what they seem to have mostly done is just ended up buying indie games,
Buying indie companies and then gutting them.
right? So what if we were to buy a big game creator or publisher? And so apparently they're like, all right, everybody, no dumb answers in brainstorming. Jack, what do you think? Valve? It's like, all right, Jack, get out of here. Fucking you're stupid.
Nah, put Valve on the board.
Put
What's
Valve,
the next
okay,
one?
put Valve on the board. Betty, what do you got? Player Unknown Battlegrounds. Like, oh, well, that's doing well on the Xbox One. Yeah, okay, put that on the board. And it's like,
We got our exclusivity with them for a year,
Frank,
so
you're a big thinker. What do you think? Electronic Arts? I don't know. It's like, oh, all right, put her on the board. Let's look at. So the idea here, I think this is actually a good idea. I think that Microsoft could do a lot worse than using the resources that they have, because they've gotten a bump in console sales from the Xbox One X. They just need exclusives, and they don't just need people to make. They have 343 and the assembly to make Halo and Gears of War. They need new franchises on the Xbox.
they already shut down Lionhead, and
Right.
Rare is like a shell of its former self, even though they are releasing Sea of Thieves later this year.
I mean, they're bringing back Fable to another company.
Yeah, by another, because they own the rights to it.
Right.
So.
But what they need creative people given enough room to create new things that are iconic, that when you think of, because when I think of fucking Master Chief, I think of the Xbox, right? When I think of Gears of War, I think of the Xbox. Some of those are on the PC, but I don't think of the PC. I think of the Xbox. They're very iconic to that. The same way that when I think of, say, like Bloodborne or Uncharted or, take your pick, Horizon Zero Dawn, I think of the PlayStation.
Or Yakuza,
yeah. So I think it's a good notion that they have. Now, those three, I mean, there's no Gabe Newell will have to be assassinated before Valve would ever sell to Microsoft.
Gabe Newell will die, would have to be killed, and then there would have to be a contract that would be buried with him and have to be pried from his cold, dead hands to allow it to happen.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things where he will also be buried with all the knives that he makes in his spare time.
Right.
And as he will become a zombie and try to kill you if you try to take it from him.
Yeah. PUBG is an interesting idea, but I don't think they've got it. I don't think they've got the clout to make new franchises. But EA is actually interesting if you could make it so that things like Anthem, you know what? Let's do the same thing. Let's just spitball sky's the limit, right? If Battlefield was an Xbox One PC exclusive that was not on the PlayStation 4, that would be a big get.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what they had to pay, that would be a huge get. If Anthem, when it launched, or the next Star Wars game was an Xbox One exclusive, that would be huge, and that would be the sort of thing, because it used to be, like the GTA DLC was on the Xbox 360 first.
Yeah.
It had a time.
Yeah.
Mass Effect launched on Bioshock was an Xbox 360
Well, the first
exclusive
Mass
for a
Effect
year.
game was a Microsoft Game Studios game.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like, that was actually, Microsoft paid for that game, and then it did so well that when they said, hey, we want to make a sequel, is it okay if it's not a Microsoft Studios game? Microsoft went, sure. Do what you need to do.
KOTOR, didn't come to, and as far as I could tell, has never been on a Sony platform. It was PC and original Xbox.
Yeah, original OG Xbox.
So that's what I feel like they need. They need stuff like that badly to entice people, because right now the upside of buying an Xbox is if you're into graphics, the One X is probably going to look a little bit better than the PS4 Pro or the PS4 or the Xbox, right? And you got the backwards compatibility. But like on the game front, we've been over this a million times. Cuphead, Halo, Gears of War, Sea of Thieves, Crackdown. There's like one more I think that I keep forgetting.
Forza,
yeah, if you're into Forza, but like the Platinum one, the Dragon one,
yeah, I got shut down.
That was shut down. And Crackdown, nobody I've talked to has good feelings about the potential for Crackdown.
Yeah, like I love Crackdown 1 and I love Crackdown 2. I am not expecting Crackdown 3 to be very good.
Yeah. So I think that they could do a lot worse. Like they've tried for a while and they haven't really done it. And I don't think the Xbox is a bad platform. I just think that they need exclusives. Like Sony has all this crazy Japanese games, Senran Kagura. Senran Kagura Peach Beach Splash was at Best Buy. I went to Best Buy the other day, for the PlayStation.
So I mean, Sony not only has a lot of the exclusive, they also have a lot of subsidiaries that make games, and they also have deals with other Japanese companies that Microsoft just doesn't have.
Right.
Having said that, if they were to buy EA. There are some issues with doing that, though.
Sure.
To conversely, one, like you said, if they were to buy it and they were like, all EA games are now Microsoft exclusive, PC and Xbox only. Well, one thing is that might invalidate certain licensing contracts, so they may lose Star Wars even quicker.
Sure.
Than we expect at the moment, because it has to also be released on the PS4. Also, because they're now having to limit their games to one console, that cuts their revenue at least half, because now they're only one console now instead of PlayStation 4, and God forbid Switch. And then also you get to the point of, and this is the less likely one, I brought it up to you earlier and you laughed at it, is the whole antitrust thing. Right. Is that there would be a point where there would be a legal proceeding going, okay, that's kind of a big company for you to buy. We're okay with you buying these smaller, like independent people, but this big company may be too large.
No, especially with Donald Trump in the White House, I do not see that being it may be the sort of thing that comes up, but every time, I don't think I've seen news over the last few years of any of these big mergers being blocked that probably should have been blocked. But in any case, you are correct that it is definitely a thing. I mean, I think it's a good idea. I think that those three are probably bad examples. That there's other people that Microsoft could be getting, but I think that it would probably be good for Microsoft to go look for. What they need is they need a company like Bungie when they contracted with Bungie to make.
Well, they bought Bungie first, and then Bungie purchased itself out.
Right. Okay. Yeah. But somebody like that, right? You don't want to be getting EA or Square Enix or From Software. You want like CD Projekt Red. Like they could potentially. I don't think CD Projekt Red doesn't seem like the sort of company that would do that. But if you could buy CD Projekt Red and say, hey, guess what? The Cyberpunk 2077 is going to be an Xbox One X or Xbox One exclusive.
Yeah,
that's a potential could happen, and then
Yeah, and I think the big problem is that a lot of people are looking at it. Specifically, this news broke from Polygon.
Yeah,
and a lot of people are looking at it as, oh, well, what companies are Microsoft going to buy? And I think what a lot of people might be overlooking is that if Microsoft is really looking to do this, if all of the speculation by industry analysts that were in the article that I read and all the rumors from people close to the situation at Microsoft who want to remain
John is doing a lot of air quotes right now,
who want to remain unnamed sources. If all of that is true, let's take it all at face value. It's all 100% true. They're totally looking for another company. I kind of wonder, the problem with going to a company like CD Projekt Red is they're only going to make one game,
right?
Which is Cyberpunk,
right?
And it's not going to come out for at least 2 more years,
right?
Additionally, which Microsoft needs something now. They're going to look at something where they can get a couple of quick exclusives. They need a company that's big enough to give them a couple of quick exclusives right now, with some high-end exclusivity later.
I think there's ways to do that. I mean, I think that
I mean, truthfully, in my opinion, if Microsoft really wanted to go out there, you go for 2K, because that would get them Rockstar.
Yeah, I could see that. I could honestly see that.
That's because that's going to get them sports titles.
Right.
That's going to get them fucking Rockstar.
Yeah.
That's going to ensure that
Man, that would be a kick in the fucking mouth if Red Dead 2 was Xbox One and Microsoft Store, not Steam.
Yeah.
Like on the Microsoft Store and Xbox One.
And even going back to that, I mean, I totally understand why they might want to try to get Valve, but again, like you said, Gabe Newell would never allow it to happen. One industry analyst was like, "Well, you never know. Gabe Newell seems to be really infatuated with getting VR off the ground. So what if he worked out some deal to basically separate the VR aspect of Valve along with maybe something, with the esports side of it, and then Steam and everything else goes to Microsoft." That I could see. They're like, maybe that could happen. I'm like, I don't think that'll happen.
I don't see that there's any way in hell. I don't think there's any financial incentive, because Steam is just a money machine.
Yeah.
They don't have to make anything for Steam. Just running Steam gives them money. And considering the fact that last year, the report 2017, 40% of the games on Steam came out in 2017.
Yeah.
40% of all the games on Steam came out last year. Like, no, I don't think there's any incentive. I don't think there's any amount of dump truck money that you could back up when you consider that Steam is.
Yeah, no, I agree.
But
I agree.
Anyway, we got to move on because we're already running a way long time. We're gonna have a longer podcast.
It's a big thing to talk about.
Yes,
I mean, it's a rumor, but a lot of speculation and everything.
Let's see. Let's talk a little bit about Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter World came out this week, and we got a couple of stories on it, and this is mostly just a reason to let me kind of complain a little bit about a few things in Monster Hunter.
Oh, you playing that?
So
good? You enjoying it?
Yeah.
All right.
No, I played it. I played a little bit of it. It's okay. I don't know that Monster Hunter is for me.
Yeah.
Because I feel like what a lot of people want out of Monster Hunter is they want to go out and fight the same NPC dragon over. It's a thing that I'm not a big fan of in video games, where it's like, whoa, man, I really want that armor set, and it's like, oh, okay, well, you need to go kill this. You need to grind this one enemy over and over again to get the materials off of them to make this armor set. And it's kind of like, that's not. I don't know. Like, I'm not a big fan of repetition of that style of repetition in games. Anyway, so one of the things that the Monster Hunter world has been kind of, I didn't even know that I wasn't the only one to know this, but you go through the character creation screen and you go into the game, and there's a very long, unskippable beginning part where you've got to climb up a giant thing and go through the woods, and you can't skip any of the cutscenes in the game. And then you finally get to the game and you're like, oh, fuck. My character's eyes look stupid. I would like to change those. And it's like, guess what? You get to go all the way back to the beginning and watch the 20-minute intro and get to the character creator screen, and you get to try them out and whatever. So because in the game you can change the hairstyle, makeup, eyebrows, and face paint and stuff, but you can't change the structure of your character's face. This was brought up to the game producer Ryozo Sugimoto, and he says, quote, you can't redo it, but when making a character, you can check their expressions, so you might want to do that when making the character. However, if there's enough demand for it, I'll put it under consideration. So apparently, being able to respec your character's appearance once you're in the game is something that Capcom may put into Monster Hunter later, which is...
Oh, but only if there's enough demand.
If there's enough demand for it. Okay, there's a weird thing in Monster Hunter where each individual piece of armor in Monster Hunter grants you a different type of bonus.
Yeah.
So the best way to maximize your character for what you want to do is to look like a fucking clown. Look like the lady in King of Fighters that has the big eyeballs, like a Harlequin. Look like that, because you're wearing 8 different armor sets that all look radically different, and like nobody in this game thought about having like a cosmetic slot where you could just put armor into, so you I want to look like I'm just wearing a full set of leather armor, even though I've got all the different pieces that I want on. And it kind of speaks to me the same as this, of just like, well, I don't know. I mean, why would anybody ever need to respec their character once you're into our gajillion hour game and your character's eyes are all fucked up, right? It's like, I don't understand. Anyway, speaking of, you can't do. There's no cosmetic slots in the game unless you're wearing like the samurai pre-order bonus, samurai armor pre-order bonus, the Horizon Zero Dawn Aloy skin that like replaces your entire character, or the newly announced Ryu and Sakura Street Fighter crossover skins.
Yeah.
I'm really confused about why this looks really stupid to me.
I mean, I know a lot of like Street Fighter purists were really pissed off because Ryu is walking around using a weapon.
Yeah.
In canon, Ryu would never do that. How fucking dare they?
Right.
You know, like there were people legitimately on their Facebook when this video came out.
Yeah.
That were on like the Monster Hunter Facebook page or the Street Fighter Facebook page. Were like, how dare they put a weapon in Ryu's hands? Motherfuckers have ruined this character. They have sullied the name of Street Fighter, and like these people weren't being hyperbolic as a joke. They were being 100% serious.
I don't understand that. That's really stupid.
Yeah, it is.
I just wish that there was more. They obviously have an option to kind of apply a skin to your entire character, as seen with this. I just wish they give me more flexibility for doing it instead of just making it these other Capcom characters.
Yeah, I do remember that there was a thing a long time ago for the cat person.
Palico.
Mm-hmm. Like they used to have like skins or stuff for that.
Mm-hmm.
That like in like the 3DS games or the even like Monster Hunter Tri Ultimate or whatever. Like one of them, like it was like Mega Man.
Oh, that's in the new one.
Oh, that's in the new one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then it actually like plays like Mega Man music as you're fighting and stuff like that. Like that's fucking badass.
It's weird.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'm totally on board.
There's also one that makes your Palico look like Horizon Zero Dawn. Now this is an interesting thing. You, as a login bonus, once you get to a certain part of the game, you can play a mission that gives you a skin for your Palico that makes it look like one of the little Horizon Zero Dawn Watchers?
Yeah.
Is it the ones? And there's also another one that gives you an Aloy character skin for your character in the game. However, these are limited time, and they're ending February 8th.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why. I don't understand why you would go to all the effort to put this in your game, and then like I've got shit that I gotta do with my life, Monster Hunter, because it's not a thing. It's not a login bonus. It's not like you just log into the game and they're like, "Hey, do you want to download these skins?" And you're like, "Yeah, all right, cool." If it was that, that's fine. Just buy the game, put it in, download the skins. But I don't understand the fact that it's based on a quest that it takes a while in the game to get to. I don't understand why they're turning it off because it's additional content. And I guess I understand time exclusivity. It just seems like a shitbag move. That's what it is. It seems like a shitbag move to be like, you've got to go do this by February 8th.
Here's a question.
Yeah.
Like, don't they have like a in-game like online store or something like that where you can buy some of this stuff?
Yes.
Are we sure that this is just not the only way to get it for free, and then afterward you can go buy this stuff in the online store?
No. There is no word yet on whether or not this armor will return, or whether the part 2 of the crossover, or when part 2 of the crossover will begin. Sorry, the second part with the Aloy thing hasn't even started yet. I just, especially as a PS4 exclusive, like, hey, check this out. Here's a reason to buy this game on the PlayStation 4. Having it expire is a weird thing to me. It's something that I don't like that game companies can even do.
I can get you.
Because it's not just Monster Hunter. That dumbass Final Fantasy 15 Assassin's Creed thing is ending. It ended on January 31st.
Yes.
Why? Like they obviously did a lot of work on that. And like the thing is that the story that I'm looking at saying that this is coming to an end on January 31st was on January 26th.
Yeah.
So like, why? Like why?
Well, the festival ended.
No. No, fuck off. No, I mean, like, well,
festivals aren't forever, Jeff.
No, it's. I want the ability to. I want when you add extra content into your game. I don't like. Okay, this is what I'm on about. I don't like the idea that the content. Like, I understand holiday festivals, but this isn't a Halloween exclusive.
I know.
This is something that was added into your game, and now you're like, and if you didn't play it by this point in time, now it's not in your game anymore. That we have pulled what is essentially single-player content out of your game because it, quote, expired, and now you can't play it anymore. Like, this is some tinfoil hat paranoia shit for me, right?
I can't speak to the Horizon thing because that's Guerrilla Games and Horizon is Sony, and Sony, that's weird. I can say that the Final Fantasy Assassin's Creed thing was probably always meant to be a timed thing because of contracts and licensing, and like that was as long as Ubisoft was willing to license out that content or that imagery or stuff to.
Yeah, no, I understand that. It's just it's a weird dark side implication for gaming when it's like, well, you didn't play it in time, so now we've removed that content. I
agree with you completely. It sucks and it's stupid.
I'm still stuck in the mindset of when I pay for a game, I want to get what I paid for, and I don't want you. You can add stuff to what I paid for, but I do not want you taking things away from a thing that I've already purchased. Yeah, it's just conceptually an idea that I do not like. Speaking of taking things away from people, Facebook is looking into making Twitch-style streaming channels.
Yes.
Which I think is really interesting. And it led me to thoughts, not necessarily, this is just a springboard, of because, you know, they've already got their Facebook Live thing, right? So if they have...
it's not a far stretch.
A platform for people to stream game footage.
I mean, there are people who stream... when they do a stream on Twitch, it's also streaming to Facebook Live.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So, I mean, it's already like a thing.
Right. But it actually brought me up to an interesting idea about, you know, if there's anybody that could make a competitor to YouTube, it might just be Facebook. And a lot of people have been unhappy recently about YouTube, you know, adpocalypse and demonetization.
I know Twitch has done some stuff to also try to compete with YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah, I know Facebook also is even like, if I'm not mistaken, I can't remember if it was Facebook or Twitch that actually did like partner program type things, like very much like YouTube things, but a little bit less
lucrative.
Lucrative, but more reasonable with their rules.
Okay.
I can't remember which one it was. It was one of them, though.
The main problem that I've had is the only time... I've only uploaded a couple of videos to Facebook ever. Is just that the tools that they have for, like, uploaded video...
Oh, they're garbage.
They're horrible. It's so hard to find anything or know what you're doing or know... Yeah, so, I don't know. Anyway, let's zip on along a little bit faster. Sony has patented... has shown a patent for a possible new VR controller. Which is pretty cool looking. It's basically, it's weird because it doesn't look very ergonomic, but it's like a kind of a big, instead of having the big bulb at the top of the PlayStation Move controller, it looks like there's like an analog stick and like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different control surfaces for your thumb and then a trigger as well.
Yeah.
Which I think, it was funny because Chris Cox from over at One of Us got a PSVR and he was on Facebook like, why doesn't Sony put an analog stick on these PlayStation Move controllers? And I was like, well, looky here. Even though I don't think a lot of people don't like teleport move in VR, I do.
Yeah.
Because I find standing still and then watching your point of view move forward to be a little sickening.
Yeah.
But I do think that they need something like this because the Move controllers obviously were used because Sony had them and because they worked for the technology, but they are by no means designed for VR.
Yeah,
because they were designed to be the Move controllers.
Yeah.
Back when Sony was trying to do motion control, you know, on your screen stuff. So.
Yeah, they're trying to compete with the Kinect.
I don't know. You've got a PSVR. What do you think about this?
I mean, that's cool. I mean, I wonder how the tracking would be done with it.
Yeah, because it doesn't seem to have a light on it.
Yeah.
Maybe this side piece has a light.
I mean, yeah, I don't know.
Also, this doesn't look very comfortable to hold. It doesn't look like very ergonomic for your hand.
Yeah, it's weird. But it kind of looks like, in all honesty, it kind of looks like a piece of the controller just broken off, like the old DualShock 2. Just like with a side broken off of it.
Okay. Or like because the PS Move had like a thing for your other hand that had an analog stick on it and some buttons.
Kind of looks like the thing for the Wii, the nunchuck.
Oh yeah,
nunchuck.
yeah.
Kind of looks like that a little bit.
Yeah.
If they come out with them and they're better, then sure, I'll buy them. I'm totally down. I still want some kind of like. I still wonder if they're going to try to improve the VR aspect with some type of room scale type thing.
Yeah.
To improve on that so that they can get more of those Vive games on the PSVR. Because I would fucking kill for that LA Noire case files on VR, on PSVR or something like that. Or some of the games that literally the companies have come out and said, yeah, we can't do them because it doesn't have room scale.
It's weird because room scale... I don't like room scale. The idea of having both, I have to walk around in a small area, but then to go further, I need to teleport, and then it's like I always just end up facing in the wrong direction. I don't know.
Or hitting walls.
What's that?
Or hitting walls.
Or hitting walls, yeah.
In Brian Brushwood's studio.
Mm-hmm.
Just like slamming into the metal walls.
No, it's weird. When I put on the Vive, it's like when, if you've ever, I'm sorry, this is not like a condemnation of any human being in the world, but sometimes when you have a new person that you're trying to get into doing Let's Plays and you hand them a controller and then you expect them to start talking and they can't talk because there's too much of their brain that's focused on playing the video game.
Yeah, I get that.
That's what happens to me in the Vive. It doesn't happen to me in the PSVR, but when I'm in the Vive, I'm just like, oh, I don't like understand where anything is, and I'm constantly trying not to punch walls. I don't know. I just kind of want to stand in one place and then kind of, move around a little bit, but not like, I don't want to do a flip off my wall just to do a thing. Anyway, let's talk about Nintendo for a little bit.
All right, I'm down.
The Nintendo Switch has officially surpassed the Wii U's lifetime sales mark. So,
hey, congratulations.
Congratulations to you, Microsoft.
You did it in less than a year.
Yep. Nintendo Switch, just goes to show you do some crazy bullshit good idea, people will buy your crazy bullshit good idea.
Yeah. It's 3DS printing money.
Yes, exactly.
Or the DS printing money, so.
In addition, in September, the Switch Online service is finally coming, which is $20 a year or $3.99 a month, and will get you...
I think there's also like a 6-month for like $8 or something like that.
That would make sense. But online multiplayer, of which I feel like Mario Kart, Minecraft. I'm trying to think of what would be Splatoon. Okay, yeah. Will now cost you this online pass, but then in addition, you'll also be getting the one game a month that then expires at the end of the month. Horseshit.
They said that might be reworked from what I've heard.
Okay.
But yeah, it's weird.
Well, we'll see in September.
You know what? $20 is not bad.
$20 for a year.
Especially considering I'm going to have to renew both my PS Plus and my Xbox One or Gold. Xbox Gold next month. Or actually, no, this month. In about 2 weeks, I have to renew both of them.
Yeah.
And they're $60 a piece for an entire year.
Yeah. I was pissed when I saw that this next month's PS Plus game is fucking knack. I was like, boo. Boo, knack. Boo.
I'm honestly surprised it took him this long to put it on there.
Yeah. And finally, we still got 9 months until the Wii Shop channel is getting shut down, but you can't add any more points to it. Which
makes sense.
It makes sense. It's just real irritating. It's real irritating. This is another one of those things where Nintendo's like, we cracked down on piracy. We have a legitimate way for you to buy our games. It's called the Wii Channel. And it's like, guess what? We're going to shut down the Wii Channel. And it's like,
well, it's a 2 console generation old system.
I'm going to buy Balloon Fight again on the Switch?
Maybe.
Oh, to Reddit. Oh, Nintendo, you stupid... Anyway. All right, let's run through some trailers real fast, and then we'll wrap it up. Yakuza 6 Song of Life Clan Creator trailer. This looks really weird. It's like some kind of online battling. You put together your groups. You scout people. Yakuza's always had weird mini games, but this one looks very strange. Looks like they're trying to take on like the Clash of Clans or something.
But I love that you have to actually like beat up people to get them to join your clan.
Yeah. And then you have you create a team. I don't know, but I do like...
I love the fact that the people on your screen right now, New Japan Pro Wrestlers.
Oh, are they?
Yes.
Okay,
it's,
so this is
Okada, who is the current the guy in the top right.
Well, wait, hold on, because your goal in this online mode is to take on the powerful 6 lunatics.
Yeah, and those 6 lunatics are all New Japan Pro Wrestlers.
Really?
Fucking Okada is the New Japan Pro Wrestling champion. Naito is fucking awesome. He's like the current villain guy. Next to him is oh god, I hate the fact I know his name. But Tanahashi.
Okay.
Tanahashi.
What
and
a
then,
great little crossover.
Yeah,
I didn't realize that.
But yeah, they're all New Japan Pro Wrestling.
I love that there's like they all look a little bit crazy, but then there's this one guy in the bottom corner who's just has this expression like, I don't even know what I'm doing in this game.
Yeah, he's an interesting character. I don't know his name, but I've only seen him wrestle like twice. I actually recently, because of Wrestle Kingdom 12, where Chris Jericho faced off against Kenny Omega, I've actually subscribed to New Japan Pro Wrestling World, which is their online streaming service, and I've been watching a lot of New Japan Pro Wrestling lately.
That's cool.
It's really good.
I just, the more I see of Yakuza 6, the more I'm just like, God damn, Yakuza 6, you look like the most Yakuza that ever Yakuza in a Yakuza.
I'm so excited for Yakuza 6.
So anyway, that looks pretty fun. All right, let's talk about SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy. So,
you know, when this was first announced, I think our reaction was, that's weird, but sure, whatever. And then there was like one line in the thing that made us kind of go, what do you mean?
Yeah, like the one-button special attacks.
Well, no, there was and you can dress them up. And it was like, okay.
So anyway, yeah, this was on the last Nintendo Direct, and this was and I actually found a thing where apparently on the Japanese Nintendo Direct, all the outfits were a lot skimpier than they wanted in the American
of course.
Nintendo Direct, which is not, okay.
SNK Heroines Tag Team Frenzy.
I'm really conflicted about this because this trailer shows the story mode for this game is that all of the women in the SNK franchise have been knocked out and taken away to this castle where they're forced to fight each other in skimpy bikinis. And also you could dress them up like a cow because May's got big udders, and then like there's a picture mode and it's got this like, oh man, here's the like sexy Japanese song behind this, and it like, oh, isn't it cute? And I'm like, it's kind of creepy and weird.
And then like the person who did this is watching them all from like a camera, from like a camera, CTV camera system in this mysterious house.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, and he's forcing them to dress in skimpy outfits. And so technically you as the player are that guy is the implication.
I don't know. I understand. I'm not a person. I'm not one of the people who's like, damn it, Dragon's Crown, that girl's boobs are too big. Because I'm like, hey, Japan, you're Japan. You've got your own sexual mores and the way that you deal with things. But it's like when this was just a fighting game with a bunch of the SNK ladies, and I'm like, okay, I'm cool with that as well. But now it's like,
you've kidnapped them.
You
drugged them and kidnapped them and are forcing them to dress in skimpy outfits while you watch them over a CTV cameras planted across the entire house.
Yeah, that's kind of gross, and I don't like it.
I don't even know if that's the actual story. That's just what we got from the trailer.
Right. And
the only thing they say in the trailer is they've been knocked unconscious. They've been put in a mysterious home.
And there's this one shot of like a CCTV camera with the switching out different girls, and it's like, oh man, there's just
and then there's a mode where you can dress them up in different costumes and skimpy outfits.
But see, that was in King of Fighters, right?
Yeah.
Or was it? No. Or no. I'm thinking of like I'm thinking of like Dead or Alive.
Yeah, you're thinking of like beach volleyball or something.
No, I mean like standard Dead or Alive. You can do that same thing, but yeah, it's weird because I like King of Fighters. I liked King of Fighters, what was it, like 14 or whatever last year?
Yeah, that was a really good game.
I liked that game, and I was really excited about this game, and I'm still excited about this game. It's just like, I don't want to feel gross when I'm playing this game. Like, even beach volleyball is presented as a consensual thing where everybody gets invited to the beach volleyball.
Zach invites he buys an island and says, hey, all you pretty ladies come to my island.
And, like,
and then to have fun, you can all compete in challenges and games and
there's
stuff.
Like a cash reward. And it's like, all right, let's do it. I'm going to bump you off this thing with my butt. But getting kidnapped to a mansion, I don't know. Maybe at the end of the day when the game comes out, it'll be more comedic, or it won't seem as gross, but it kind of seems a little gross.
With this trailer, yeah.
A little gross.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and cut some of these other things we've already seen. Let's talk about a little bit, though, about Raging Justice, which is an old school throwback Final Fight beat 'em up that looks like it's got like arcade graphics from like 1991.
Yeah, the main character is like a veteran cop named Rick Justice.
Yeah, and then there's two characters. It's him, and then there's the other one is Nikki Rage.
Yeah.
So this looks pretty fun. I mean, I think
it's almost like someone became a fan of Rage Select and then said, "Let's make a video game."
Yeah.
It's brutal co-op.
Yeah, and you could drive a lawnmower and run over people with the lawnmower. And it just looks real retro and kind of silly.
Yeah.
I mean, like at the very end, there's like there's like a voice where it's like "Raging Justice," and it's like distorted, like it's coming out of like a bad arcade cabinet.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It looks pretty cool.
Yeah, looks cool. It's coming to PS4.
Another
sometime.
short video for Bloodstained to show that Bloodstained's still going on.
Yeah, it's like, hey, here's a quick mechanic we're going to show you, mostly so that you know we're still working on the game.
Yep, crafting, which actually looks cool, and I don't think there's been crafting in any of the other. The only thing I can think of is that there might have been like a soul synthesis thing in one of the last two, the one with the girl and the one with the twins.
Yeah.
But this is just like straight up make a different whip by combining your whip with a bunch of ingredients.
Yeah.
So pretty cool. All right. Let's just knock some of these out. Red Dead 2 has a release date, late October now.
Yeah, it got pushed back.
Mm-hmm.
Which, again, I don't think... Here's the thing. One, I don't think anyone's surprised.
No.
Two, that's not even that bad.
It's really not.
Like,
if it had gotten pushed out of 2018, that would have been a much bigger deal.
Yeah, no, yeah, exactly. It's like, I don't even think it's that bad of it. Like, it's also one of those things that, what? Rockstar delaying a game? The hell you say?
Right. If it even launches with both the single and multiplayer, I'll be surprised. Gigantic is shutting down in July, which is kind of a shame. I never played it, but it seemed kind of cool.
I thought this game had been shut down a long time ago. when it turns out that what I had read was that Microsoft was like because originally they were like, this is a Microsoft game and this is where Microsoft Studios been, and then like Microsoft like said, nah, we're not going to do your game.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was canceled then, and then it turned out it wasn't, and like we then played a second beta or something for it, and then now it's getting canceled. So it's like I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this game because I thought it was canceled a long time ago.
Yep. I tell you what's not canceled that should be. That's Sonic the Hedgehog. Anyway, good news for everybody who lives in Austin. Apparently, the announcement for whatever the next Sonic game is going to happen at the South by Southwest Gaming Expo this year.
Okay. Can I say something?
Sure.
I recently played the Sonic Forces on the Switch. It's not as bad as everyone made it out to be.
I don't think that I've never.
I mean, it has some issues. It's not a great game. It definitely has some major issues with it that bother the shit out of me. But a lot of people were like, this is, if it wasn't for the fact that Sonic 06 exists, this would be the worst Sonic game ever in the existence of Sonic games. I'm like, no, it wasn't that bad.
I don't know how to evaluate Sonic games because I don't like the original Sonic games as much as people like the original Sonic games. So.
Well, I know a lot of people were also upset with, Sonic Mania came out and was fucking awesome, and then like this came out and it wasn't as good, and so people were just like hyperbolic over it being bad. And it's like I played it, I'm like, it's actually not that bad. I have some fundamental issues with it, but it wasn't that bad of a game. Yeah.
It's also weird because I feel like the comparison between those two is like the comparison between the Firaxis XCOM and the XCOM shooter that eventually came out, or like Bionic Commando Rearmed and the Bionic Commando game that Anyway, last but not least, this is just for me because I like it. I think it's fun. Apparently, John Romero and Tom Hall were talking on Twitter and have confirmed that it is apparently canon in the heads of the people at id that BJ Blazkowicz, Commander Keen, and the Doom guy are all related.
Yeah, BJ Blazkowicz is the grandfather of Commander Keen, and Commander Keen is the father of Doom guy.
Yes, which is a little weird to me considering Doom guy in Doom in 2016 Doom.
Well, that's kind of a
but it does make me wonder whether the next thing that we're going to see is going to be Commander Keen, because I've never really gotten into that franchise. But they've done Quake, they've done Doom, they've done Wolfenstein.
Yeah.
So maybe Commander Keen? Or maybe Doom 2. Make it Doom 2. I want Doom 2. Fucking love Doom. And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break so I can get all this Doom love out of my system and cry in the bathroom for a little while. We'll be back in a minute with part 2. We're going to answer some questions, so stick around. And it's time for those questions, John.
Oh, I'm ready for questions.
Mail@rageselect.com is the place to send all your questions. You know what? Before we get to the questions, just real briefly, this isn't going to be a game review or anything. I know that anybody who's listened to this far into the podcast is a loyal Rage Select aficionado. Recently, Rage Select more of our part 2s and then a little bit in the podcast. Like the podcast is still hitting the same numbers from people downloading it that I would normally expect. But like on YouTube, I feel like there's just not as many people watching stuff. And then in particular, our viewership has been a little bit depressed. And some of that is because, January isn't exactly a time of big games. So I can understand that people, are not really interested in there's less big releases, right? So if you're a fan of Rage Select, here's maybe a thing that you can do. I don't normally ask this all the time. I'm not real, big on this, but or not real pushy about it. But maybe this is a time. Find your favorite Rage Select video of the last couple months and share it out to somebody on Facebook or a podcast or whatnot, or give us a little hype. See if we get a couple hundred people in here, a couple hundred new people in here. See if we get some new people that aren't.
Let's get our numbers up on iTunes, man.
Super upset
because you talked about it earlier. There's not a lot of good video gaming podcasts other than Giant Bomb. Let's fucking get Rage Select up in there.
Yeah.
Let's get people over here to hear us talk about video games and then also answer your weird hypothetical questions.
Damn right.
And stuff.
Yeah. So there. Do it. Yeah. Just, it doesn't take that long. And like, I know that, even when other podcasts that I listen to on the regular basis are like, go rate and review us on iTunes. And I'm just like, yeah. But maybe go do it if you like Rage Select, because the podcast is a zero sum. Like, we don't make it. I don't ever pimp out Patreon on the podcast. We don't monetize the podcast. We don't have sponsorship deals. It's just free. It's just me and somebody talking for a couple hours every week. So maybe take this one time as an opportunity to say, share out a podcast that you like to somebody. Maybe not like the one where I'm critical of Devilman Crybaby, where people are like, grrr! But like one of the ones that you like or whatnot.
And I'm going to also state,
Yeah.
I know we've made the jokes about, write your responses and be mean as Jeff as possible. In your iTunes reviews, don't. Don't be mean to Jeff, because that's not, people are going to be very confused by that.
Maybe so.
So don't be mean to Jeff on that. Just be nice and you're that.
Which,
if you want to be mean to Jeff, just post in the comments on the Rage Select website or send emails to Jeff that are just... I've got some
mean emails. I've got some mean emails.
I'm going to be judging people
week
on their meanness.
Yeah. But those are towards the end. Our first one this week, though, comes in from Euro Salamander. Euro Salamander says, greetings, Beard Lord Jeff and Magnificent John. Long fan and loyal patron, I write to you today, my first email of 2018, to ask you about book series, specifically the first book in a series. Have you ever come across a book series where you tried the first book but found it so bad that you rejected the entire series out of hand? As an example, I recently saw the trailer for the new movie Annihilation. Finding the trailer interesting, I bought the book it's based on with an eye to potentially buying the whole book series. However, I found the book to be utter tripe and completely devoid of the elements that I need to enjoy a story. On a whim, I went to Wikipedia to see if the rest of the books promised to get better, but I found the descriptions to be equally boring and ended up giving the book to a local charity, writing the series off as a waste of time. Vice versa, have you ever read a first book that you did not like, but you tried the other books in the series anyway and found that you ended up really enjoying them, despite the rocky start? For me, Stephen King's The Dark Tower series went like that. After reading the first book, I found myself really despising Roland, the series' main protagonist, but on a whim, I tried the second book and ended up gobbling up the entire series. Hope this email finds you all well, and may 2018 be great for you in all the ways that it can. Best regards from Euro Salamander.
This is a question for you.
Well, I thought I would expand it to, TV shows, comics, anything, anything basically that has a rocky start, but then gets better. Games,
I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of stuff that has a rocky start and gets better.
Yeah. Like Assassin's Creed.
No, but no at the same time.
Yeah.
There's tons of TV shows where people are like, you can skip the first season. And I'm like, no, I don't
can't
wanna.
skip the first season.
Well, the first season is garbage.
Yeah.
It's like, all right, cool. Then I won't watch Parks and Recs ever.
The first season of Parks and Rec is only 4 episodes long.
Yeah, well,
it's a very small time investment. And of all the times when people say that you don't have to watch the first season, the second season of Parks and Recreation starts with a recap that tells you everything you need to know from the first season because it's like 4 episodes long, and they get going. That's like the one time that I can say this really works.
Well, too bad. Not watching it.
All right, fair enough.
30 Rock was the same thing.
30 Rock is a great first season.
Oh, I actually didn't like 30 Rock.
Okay. So I choose my books really carefully. The books that I read tend to be what I tend to do is I tend to go and I will. So what happened was that first I started following authors, right? When I basically got back into reading books all the time. So when I first started reading a lot more, I started by going back and doing just picking up like Dune and stuff that I've already read a bunch of times. And then, like Neil Stephenson books, those would take a while. And then I started getting into the pulp sci-fi things. And I basically found like this one author, and I really liked his book. And it was like a Amazon recommend, download it for free, and I was like, great. And then I was like, where's the next one? It's like, that's the only one. I'm like, okay. So I went and read all the other books this guy had read, and then I started looking at there's like a chain of sci-fi authors that I've talked about before, B.B. Larson and Marco Clues and Von Heppner, that are all kind of like just these middle-aged white dudes writing space opera stuff, right? And it's easy to kind of move between them, because I would read one series all the way, and then by the time that was done, it was like, oh, book 2 of this series is out, so I can read that. And then by the time that's done, book 3 of this series is out. But then eventually I get to a point where I'd read all the books in the series that I was looking at, and I have to go find a new one. And the way that I usually would do that was I would go to Goodreads, because Amazon is kind of garbage. I was actually talking to somebody about this before, but Goodreads works really well but you have to so if you find a book that you like, and then you look for people also bought this book, and then you literally have to go in and read the reviews. You have to read the entire reviews that people have left and see if the 1-star ratings are for well, this is stupid because blah blah SJW, and it's like, okay, no, or this is stupid because it's poorly written or it has a slow start. I'm like, okay, well, those are legit. But I read all of the last series that I really plowed through was the Black Fleet series, and that came because Felicia Day wrote a really stellar review of it on Goodreads, and I was like, I don't know, does Felicia Day know what she's talking about? I'll tell you what, it's $7 to find out. But then I'm currently on book 7 of this 13-book franchise, and I'll tell you what, it actually fits in this question, because the first book in the Honor Harrington series was slow. It had a lot of character building, which can be good, and ended up paying off. It reminded me of this is the stupidest comparison that I can make, so please forgive me. A Tale of Two Cities.
Okay.
I think that Charles Dickens is kind of a crap writer, because I think that he wrote serialized stuff, but he was bad at it, in my opinion, because I'm not a stuffy fucking 19th century British person. I'm a fucking jet-setting 2017 American, right? I like Michael Bay movies and Pacific Rim, goddammit. But A Tale of Two Cities was like a very long book, and it built up to this 1 or 2 really exciting chapters that would not have been really exciting if it wasn't for this long book that came before it. On the subject of Charles Dickens, before I leave, there is no reason in this world when you should be making people read Charles Dickens in high school when Alexandre Dumas is a thing. The fucking Count of Monte Cristo is a serialized book that had me on the edge of my seat. The end of every chapter, I was like, God damn, I'm so glad that this isn't coming out monthly, because at the end of every chapter, I'm just like, fuck, what happens next?
Yeah, no. Count of Monte Cristo is a great story. I love Count of.
Anyway, so this first book of the the Honor Harrington series was very slow, and actually most of the books in the franchise have been slow to start, but that build up pays off by the time you get to the end, where you're just reading a chapter like, fuck, what happens. So I tend to choose my books very, very carefully, so I don't end up in a lot of situations where I will abandon a I now end up in situations where I will not abandon a book series usually, unless it's just really terrible. It used to be, before I started looking at Goodreads, though, I would look at the Hugo Award winners. And I would get Hugo winners because those were great sci-fi. And so Mira Grant's the zombie thing, Blackout, that was okay. But there was this one sci-fi book that is the epitome of this particular category, and it is called Ancillary Justice by Anne Leckie.
Okay.
And this book is ostensibly about a woman who used to be a spaceship and is now in the body of a woman, looking for the person who used to command her when she was a spaceship, in between flashbacks to missions that happened while she was a consciousness inside of a starship, and then also looking for her disgraced commander or whatever. I made it halfway through that book and then just stopped because it was so... It seems to me like when I read the description, I'm just like, wow, a lady who used to be a spaceship. That sounds cool, right? Like, oh, blah, 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 blah. It was just ponderously dull, and but it won a Hugo. Like, it was like the best sci-fi book of 2013 or something like that. And I found it just terrible. Like, and I talked to a friend of mine who also reads sci-fi, who tends to get a little bit more onto the ponderous side of sci-fi. Yeah. And I was like, have you read Ancillary Justice? And he's like, yeah, I did. And I'm like, did you finish it? And he's like, yeah. Like, does it ever get any better? And he's like, no, don't bother. But I mean, there's like 4 or 5 books in this series or something like that. It's one of the few books that I've ever read and then just like gone, nah, bro, not for me. Generally speaking, on the second half of the question, I don't tend to buy book 2 in a series if book 1 was bad. Like, I'll never buy the next one, which is Ancillary Sword, I think, or something like that, because the first one is there's too much content in this world, John. There's too many horror movies. I was looking, we were talking about horror movies before. I was looking at the horror movie section on Amazon, and I kind of want to start a show. I don't know if anybody does this. Have you ever looked into Netflix and gone to like horror, and then it's like, at the top you've got like Hellraiser, and here's a Netflix original, and here's Rings, right? But as you keep scrolling down, you keep seeing these weird, like 60-minute long horror movies that look like they have zero budget. Yeah. That have there's like a guy on the front that's like, and I'm like, I kind of want to start a subsection of Rage Select where we just review the like, go to the bottom of the Netflix recommends list on the horror thing, pick the last one on the list and watch it, and then review it, and then just work our way up the list from there. Because, but generally speaking, I'm not very tolerant about, Salamander. I'm not very tolerant about giving series a chance that don't hook me. Another one that may fall into this category is that, like, there's one person on Rage Select who comments as guest all the time who's going to be, I don't know if they listen to the podcast, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure just is not doing it for me. Like, I thought that if I plowed through it to a point that it would be like, oh, I'm invested now. And I'm like, nope, because you keep jumping forward in time, and now it's JoJo's 6th cousin, in the 1940s. And I'm just like, I just am not caring about this. It's kind of the same way when we were doing Dragon Ball, where there's people that really care about Dragon Ball, and I just look at Dragon Ball and go, I'm just not into that. It doesn't look like a thing for Jeff. It looks like a thing for some other folks, but not for Jeff. Naruto, I watched 4 episodes of Naruto and was like,
I was really into Naruto for a while.
Or Naruto, or however you say it, and like
I don't fucking care.
Bleach, like I watched.
Bleach was good.
1 episode of Bleach.
Yeah, that was good.
A lot of anime does this. I don't stick with. I'm more than happy. Assassination Classroom, watched 4 episodes, was like, nope. A lot of people liked Black Butler. I watched part of that.
I didn't watch that one.
A lot of people liked what's that one? Not Gantz. It's
I know a guy who did the English dub of Gantz.
It's like kind of a cyberpunky, weird dystopian thing where it's like a dream city or something. It's very darker than black, blacker
than black.
Blacker than black. Maybe that's what it was. I don't know. That one I watched a little bit of and was like, no, nah. I ditch on animes.
It might have been darker than black or blacker than black or something like that.
There was another one too that I feel like is very.
That one was okay.
Yeah, I'm just not
really get into it.
In it for okay. Like in my mental estimation, I'd rather watch One Punch Man than try to force myself to watch One Punch Man again than try to force myself to watch JoJo's Bizarre Adventure just because everybody keeps telling me that it's the greatest thing when it's not. I'm willing to give stuff a chance, but like I'm not willing to give it an infinite chance. Like it has to have something to get into me. I don't know. Anything that you've watched and then just kind of like given up on over time? You seem to have a real love-hate relationship with the WWE recently.
No, actually, I actually like the WWE. I mean, I don't have cable anymore, so I can't watch SmackDown and Raw live or ever. I just watch like the YouTube clips.
Yeah.
And then I watch the pay-per-views. And then I watch like NXT and sometimes 205 Live. There are other shows that are on their network, which I have the network, so I have access to them.
It's funny when I followed John Cheese on Twitter, and then John Cheese and Amanda were both live tweeting
the Royal Rumble.
Yeah, and I was just like, God damn, I got a lot of razzling in my Twitter these days.
Yeah, but yeah, no. It was WWE's fine. As far as like anime, trying to think if there's anything that I've really just like.
Ooh. I gave up on Berserk after a while. The manga, I was reading that, and eventually I was just kind of like, I just, nah, man, I'm done with this.
All right.
So,
yeah, I can't think of anything. I feel like there was something that I did give up on recently that I was like, well, I mean, I gave up on Death Note. I gave up like really close to the end too. I was like, you know what? Fuck this show. Fuck this. And
that was so weird because you watched so much of it and you didn't seem to enjoy any part of it.
Well, because everyone's kept saying like it's so good, it gets so much better, especially towards the end. And I'm just like, all right, I'll slog through it. Maybe it'll get better. And it's like, nah, it ain't. And it's like 2 episodes. Like, okay, I think it's getting better. Nope. We're back to the bullshit. We're back to the fucking bullshit that I hate about this show.
Yeah.
But you know, whatever. So people can like it. It's fine. I just it wasn't for me. But yeah, I can't think. I'm trying to think. There was something recently that I really like. Was like, I'm gonna give this a try, and then I got it, and I really kind of liked it at first, and then about halfway through it, I was just like, you know what? I don't care.
Yeah.
And I can't remember what it was. I honestly can't remember what it was that you know, I will say that typically shows that go past 100 episodes typically lose me after a while.
Okay.
It's really hard to keep me outside of like a few for anime anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's jump to the next one. Next podcast question comes in from Bert Cocaine, who says, "Hello there, Bert Cocaine here with a Nintendo question." It seems
just for him. He'll know what that means.
It seems that as of today, the Switch has surpassed the lifetime sales of the Wii U at barely a year on the market. Honestly, it baffles me at how this is, and wondered if you could shed some light on why people love the Switch and despise the Wii U. Always lurking, Bert Cocaine. P.S. Long live all rings considered.
Yeah. I'm just going to say it again. Bert Cocaine!
I assume you and Mr. Cocaine have a relationship in another podcast world. The one of
the former podcast world of.
Yeah. Well, I don't. Okay. So let's spitball a few things here.
Yeah.
I think that there were a number of reasons why the Wii U didn't work. I think as much as this seems like a very semantic argument, I honestly think that the name was a problem. That if they named it the Wii 2 or something else entirely, because I feel like there were a lot of people, especially leading up to it, that were confused about, wait, what is this? Is this the pad? Is you just go buy the pad for your Wii and that's the Wii U? And it's like, no, it's a whole other console.
So that was a big one. I actually agree with you. That was a big one, and not just because you and me knew. You people like you, me, and probably our listeners. They knew it was a new console.
Sure,
parents didn't.
It was like
people who bought a Wii and never had a console prior to that, or maybe bought a Wii after not having a console for a long period of time. They're like, oh, so it's a Sega CD situation,
right?
Or where you just took it on to the console and you got a new console. Like they just didn't know.
I mean, let us not forget that plenty of people thought years out from the Xbox One rolling back the always-on DRM, that it still had that you couldn't buy, you like used games or stuff for it.
I've actually gotten people to talk about that within the last 6 months.
But so I don't think that you can underestimate that. But what I really think the problem is that they were okay. I think that Nintendo lost cred with what you would consider like hardcore gamers during the Wii's life cycle, right?
Yeah.
Is that there was a lot of emphasis on the motion gaming, which for me, it's like I don't care. I don't like motion gaming. There's a lot of like, oh, Wii Sports and this thing, and like going after a more broad demographic, which I feel like closed them off to what was happening in the PS3, Xbox 360 landscape of, more violent games, hardcore, good graphics, these kind of the ecosystem of those areas was different than what was going on the Wii at the time.
And and also I also think that it was a publisher. It was a games issue. Yeah. Like not even an exclusive games issue, cuz games are going to have, cuz I mean when you look at the Wii, just the Wii, it actually had, like, at the beginning of its lifespan, it actually had a lot of third-party support.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, when it was mostly shovelware and whatever, because the third parties had moved on to better graphics and stuff that the Wii just couldn't do.
Right.
And then you had a console that was maybe slightly better.
Yeah.
And
yeah, I remember when we talked about this a while back, the Wii U was more powerful than the PS3 and the Xbox 360, but came out 1 year before the PS4 and the Xbox One launched. So what my idea or the thing that I kept saying over and over again was like, that's your year, Nintendo. That's your year to put stuff out on the Wii U that looks really good, that looks maybe better than the current console generation of the 360 and PS3, of really pushing the third party the ports of stuff to the Wii U console. But then Nintendo, being Nintendo, also really, really, really wanted to push the idea of the pad and the second control touchscreen gaming, and using the Wii U controller and its motion functions for things like Zombie U, or like the way that Star Fox, right? I don't know if there's anybody out there who is happy that the first Star Fox game since the N64 had this juiced in control scheme that you had to use this thing that kind of worked to play and just ended up being not great. And I think that a lot of Nintendo's partnerships with other publishers atrophied during the Wii era, because was there like one of the Call of Duties that they ported to a really bad Wii port?
Oh yeah. And then there was never a Call of Duty after that.
Yeah. Or, the fact that you can put a game out on the PC, the 360, and the PS3 and get a kind of a parody of a bit of parody of graphical fidelity between the three of them. PS3 had a rocky start, but they eventually kind of got that figured out. And then you had to completely rework all the controls and then make it kind of look bad. Like, I feel that the end of the Wii's life cycle started that thing where your Nintendo console is where you play Nintendo games, not where you play other games. And that the Wii U, unfortunately,
well, that's because that's what it became. It became, what games do I want to get on my Wii U? It's well, you want Mario, you want Zelda,
right?
And it took forever to get a fucking Zelda game.
Well, they never had. Was there ever a console exclusive Zelda for Wii U? Because they did. I mean, like Wind Waker HD, and they put Twilight Princess, but Twilight Princess. Is Twilight Princess? No, that
was a Wii game.
GameCube.
No, well, Twilight Princess was a launch title for the Wii.
Right, but that was because it was on the GameCube.
Well, no, it came out same time for both.
Right.
The only difference is that on the Wii version of it, it was mirror image because most people are right-handed.
Right,
and
right.
Link is actually left-handed.
Yeah. But you saw things from the when you go back and look at like the GameCube era, Nintendo had a dark streak with things like Killer 7 and Resident Evil 4 and Eternal Darkness. Like there was even Metroid Prime was not not a super bubbly game, right? And then you get to the Wii, and it just seems like most of the stuff that was on there was kind of bubbly. And then you get to the Wii U, and by the end of the Wii U's life, you had Bayonetta 2 and Fatal Frame, and things that were a little bit better. But I feel like it was a bad step that they either needed to do a full-on console like the PS3 or the 360, or really think outside of the box with something like the Switch.
Yeah, and
that's why I think the Switch is doing so well, is because the Switch. Well, first off, I think the Switch has had one of the most fantastic launch years that I've ever seen of a video game. Like, I cannot stress enough that there was a new Zelda on day one for you to play on your new Nintendo console, and there was a new Mario before the year was over for you to play on your new Nintendo console.
And also they had, Splatoon, and they had
Mario Kart,
the re-release of Mario Kart.
Great release of Mario Kart.
Also they had some like really good third-party games as well. Like there were a lot of, you got Skyrim portable.
Yeah.
Portable Skyrim, which is something you were asking for forever.
Forever. I mean, even Dark Souls coming out, on the Switch.
Yeah.
Like the idea of having and this is Bert Cocaine. This is why one of the reasons that I think that the Switch is doing so well is because Nintendo is doing a thing that I wish that people would have done for years, which is taking the miniaturization of technology that we've seen in something like an iPhone or an iPad and making a dedicated game console, but that it's not making a game console that works as a tablet but also works on TV.
Yeah.
Like that just is not a thing, right? So there's no game console that you have where you put it in the thing and then suddenly you can play it on TV, because it reminds me of, you remember the GameCube had the Game Boy Advance adapter that you could add to it. So you could take Final Fantasy Tactics and you could play it on your TV, which is why I bought it, which is what I did.
Yeah.
And then you could take it out, you could put it in your GBA when you were going to do a thing.
Well, it's also what people, when people finally started to grasp that the Wii U was a second console,
right?
They thought it was like the Switch where you could just take the pad with you and walk off.
Right.
But you couldn't.
But the range on that thing was terrible.
Oh yeah, no. You couldn't go like a room. It didn't go through a wall.
Yeah, I mean, which sucked because that was an interesting idea.
But it was just like I said. It's the fact that people thought like, oh, I can take this pad and go travel.
Right.
And my kids can still play their games.
Right.
But that's not what it was either.
Right.
So that's like when
that is what the Switch is.
But that is exactly what the Switch is. With the Switch, everyone's like, finally.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great use of technology that seems like because for me, I like the idea of having a game that plays mobile, but I work from home and 90% of my time is spent in front of the TV. ATV, most of the rooms in my house have at least one TV in them. So the idea of playing an iPad game in my house is kind of ludicrous to me, because I'm like, I've got tons of consoles hooked up to every TV in my house. Like, why would I ever constrict myself to a small screen? But the idea of being able to have the option of having a small screen or the large screen with a fully featured controller, which is the reason the PSP doesn't work.
Well, I mean, like for us, like in my house, like I have the projector in my living room, and then I have my computer in our computer room, but we don't have a TV in our bedroom. Like that's actually something Amanda was very clear on. Like, I don't want a TV in the bedroom.
Sure.
So we don't have one in there. So a lot of times on our days off, like we're like, we're gonna have a lazy Sunday and we're gonna sleep in and stay in bed. I wake up early because the dog's got to go pee.
Right.
So I get up and I can't go back to sleep because I'm awake at that point. So I usually just walk in the living room, grab the Switch, walk into the bedroom, turn the volume down really low, and start playing L.A. Noire, or start playing Puyo Puyo Tetris, or any of the other games I've got for it. And that's, and then I'll take it back in the living room, and sometimes I'll play it on. I actually haven't played it too much on my TV, though I do play it on my TV occasionally. I play it more as a tablet, or like I'll be playing a game and Amanda will be like, "I'm gonna play Cat Quest," and like pull it from the dock and sit down in her chair and like start playing Cat Quest or any other games that she wants to play on there, while I'm sitting there playing WWE 2K18 or Yakuza Kiwami or Assassin's Creed Origins or whatever fucking game I'm playing that day.
Yeah, it's good. It's a very good piece of hardware that I can't believe that anybody hasn't figured out sooner.
Yeah,
it does have drawbacks, but it's one of the better Nintendo products that I've seen in a while, and it puts Nintendo back in the realm of sitting on the couch console gaming that has some motion control, but I think that they've learned their lesson about, like, it's not all motion control. Like, you can play this with just a straight controller. So, all right. Next one comes in from Daniel Hood. Daniel says, "Hey, Jeff and John. Lately, I've been playing a strategy game where one of the major components is whale hunting." I believe that's the game Nantucket. While I was expecting to do this and still enjoy playing the game, I always come away feeling morally conflicted about hunting and killing animals that are endangered in real life. The thought led me to ask this question of you. Have there been things that you saw did in games that made you morally conflicted? If you can't think of anything in gaming, you can expand it out to other forms of media. Thanks. Take care.
Shadow
Daniel
Colossus.
Hood.
I think that
Really?
Shadow Colossus. I mean, that you start the game and you're like, I don't know if I should be killing these things. Like, you feel bad.
Yeah.
Because they're not attacking you.
That was it. That wasn't the answer that I expected from you, John.
Oh.
Because there's one that you're pretty famous for about being morally conflicted in a game.
Well, Grand Theft Auto 5, Trevor specifically. Like, I can play the sections with any of the other characters, but once you make me play the game as Trevor during, like, it has to be Trevor and can only be played as Trevor during this section.
Right.
Out.
Yeah.
But no, Shadow Colossus is a big one because, like, like we talked about earlier, it's like you have, these giant colossi who they don't attack you. They're just walking around.
They attack if you get too close.
No, they don't attack you until you attack them.
Oh, really?
If you just ignore them, like, and just walk around them, they will not attack you. The second you start climbing onto them or doing things to them, then they go after you.
Okay.
Because at that point, you're a danger to them.
Okay.
And it takes you, for anyone who's never played Shadow of the Colossus, sorry, it's kind of a spoiler, but it takes you a little bit to kind of start to, like, when you play it, because it's the whole point of the game, you're going, oh, I'm supposed to go kill these things.
Right.
And then, it's kind of like, I don't know if this is a good thing for me to be doing.
It turns out that man was the real monster the whole time.
Yeah, and it's just like, it's just like, I don't, it just looks like, that one looks like a dumb horse.
Yeah.
And it just looks so doofy, and I don't want to play this game no more.
Yeah. I mean, famously, I have over the years always had a hard time being evil in video games.
Yeah. Unless you're playing Evil Genius.
Unless you're playing Evil Genius. Well, there's or like Dungeon Keeper or something like that. But specifically, like in games where you, Fallout 3. Way back in the old days, I played KOTOR a bunch of times. Then I decided I'm going to go through and be evil in KOTOR. And when you get to the end of KOTOR and you make the Wookiee kill his best friend because he owes you a life debt, and I'm just like, this is too evil. I don't like this.
Fallout 3 in that hotel with the mutants and the people who don't like mutants in the hotel, and then like you basically convince Hightower. Yeah, I think that's Hightower.
Yeah,
and then like I went through all this trouble to broker
Tenpenny Tower.
Thank you. I went through all this trouble to broker peace between these two groups, and that mutants and people could coexist.
Yeah,
and then I leave, and then I come back, and all the humans are dead because that one fucking guy that I should have killed before I did anything.
Yep.
I could have solved everything.
I started Fallout 3, and the first kind of big evil thing that happens is that guy in Megaton tells you to arm the bomb in Megaton.
Oh,
and you
go to
Tenpenny Tower, and you go out on the balcony, and you watch the big explosion happen, where then you go back to Megaton, and everybody in Megaton is dead, except for Moira, who's become a mutant, or a ghoul.
Cool. Yeah, not mutants, ghouls.
And I was just like, this isn't, I mean, like, what's that VR game where you play as the evil overlord, where it's like you've got the two kind of like devils that are it's like a strategy game.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I can't remember.
When video games are like or Overlord, right?
Yeah.
Or something where the video game is like, ha, for evil, let's go fuck up. I don't have any problem with that, but when the game has like a good side and a bad side, and I do the bad thing, I'm just like, ew, I don't, this is not. No, at least that's one of the things that I can say that I always really liked about the Mass Effect franchise was that Renegade is more asshole than it is evil.
Yeah.
It's less Shepard being like, Mwahaha! It's more just like, fuck you guys, I'm Shepard, fuck you guys. Because I don't know. I just can't. A lot of times when there's a moral, I'm trying to think of like Infamous, I never want to do the bad side, because it's a realistic thing, and it's just like it's not deliciously evil, it's just like I'm a shithead.
Yeah, it's not cartoon evil,
right?
It's actual like real life evil, and I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
I don't feel comfortable with that.
Yeah, I think that I'm much more interested in stuff like I was listening to the guys who used to do Bonfire Side Chat, have Watch Out for Fireballs. That's their main podcast. They played through The Witcher 3, and they talked about how there's a lot of like moral ambiguity in The Witcher 3, and how like decisions that seem like they're a good decision, that one of the things that The Witcher 3 does, which apparently is really interesting and actually kind of makes me want to go back and play the game, is that you make a decision and then the consequences of that decision don't show up for another 3 or 4 hours, so that when they do show up, you can't just reload your game and do it the other way. Like, you have to live with your decision.
What was it? There was a guy, the Kotaku fucking loves The Witcher. Like every fucking week, there's at least one article about Witcher 3. Like they had a guy talking about how he loaded up Witcher 3 and went searching for a fucking tree, like a very specific tree that was mentioned in a documentary about the creation of The Witcher from NoClip, the YouTube channel. But it's just literally just like I just loaded up and I wanted to go find the specific tree that they were talking about. Fucking articles about Witcher 3 all the fucking time on that website.
Yeah.
But there was one guy that actually talked about how the relationship between Geralt and the daughter character. I'm not going to go into spoilers or anything about this.
God damn it, Brain. It's not Triss. It's not Yennefer. It's... God, what the hell is her name?
Whatever. But you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. Ciri.
Yeah. And some choices that he made towards her, and in his mind he was like, I am making the choice that as a parent would make. Like this is what I, as the father of this child, or even the adopted father of this child, would make for this character, and I am being a great parent. I am the best parent. And then when you get to the end of the game and he finds out all the choices he made were the wrong ones and he got the worst ending.
Yeah. Yep.
And he's just like, and it was just like, and that's interesting to me because it's like he didn't necessarily make choices that were bad.
Right.
He did it like, it's like, oh, I helped this character do this thing because I'm a parent and I love this child and I want to help them succeed.
Right.
Only to find out that by helping them succeed, you actually doomed them to failure later on in life.
Yeah.
And it's just like, damn, that's some moral gray areas.
I was watching Extra Credits had a video about Prey and how interesting it is that Prey actually starts out with a series of psychological tests, and that then the entire game, I didn't even realize this, the entire game is putting you to the answers that you made in that psychological test.
Oh, okay.
So like they have one of the things is the train car dilemma or whatever it is, where it's like there's a train car and it's on a track, it's out of control, and it's heading towards 5 people that are immobilized on the tracks. So there's a switch that you have access to where you can switch it so that it will move to a second track, but that track has 1 person on it. So do you make that switch in order to and kill and then like actually kill 1 person, because you didn't set this up, right? You're just standing at the switch track, right? So do you hands off and then the consequences are what they are, or do you directly intervene in the situation, but now you are responsible for the 1 person who died? Kind of a needs of the many thing.
Yeah.
And then the whole game is kind of about like, because there's the metamorphs in the Prey game, and there's the whole kind of like the thing, like if these get back to Earth, fuck, we're fucked. Like these things can look like anything and they can infect people and whatever. And so, but then you run across characters in the game who are like, well, I'm not infected and I want to go home. I don't think I should have to die on this space station. And then the question, you know, is like, do you help them or do you condemn them to death on this space station? Because if they are infected, then they go back to Earth, then they're going to potentially destroy the entire human race. So I find stuff like that more interesting. I don't know. I don't like just playing as a bad person. Like I don't like just playing as a Sith, right? Like when I played Star Wars The Old Republic, I liked playing as the Imperial agent because they were like bureaucratic evil dudes who were like, we trying to clean up all the mess that the Sith keep making, and the Sith are just like, oh, the raw power of evil, I love it. And it's like, okay, all right, fuck off. So yep. All right, next one comes in from Matt. Matt says, Jeff and John, a question, follow-up, and thanks. Right before Thanksgiving, you all answered but my question about a gaming console purchase for me. I ended up buying a PS4 Thanksgiving night in an actual store and have enjoyed it. The feedback was great and much needed. We had a pretty rough time the week with one of our beloved pets, and I was listening to the podcast driving back from our vet, not knowing if he would survive a procedure, and the advice was awesome and hysterical. Nothing like driving on a freeway at 70 miles per hour, laughing and crying at the same time. Helped make one of the worst moments I've had better, so thanks to you and Amanda. I guess Amanda was on when we were doing this before. PS4 was a good choice. Downloaded Wolfenstein's standalone DLC that night and loved it. I guess that'd be the Old Blood. Figured I was ready for a bigger challenge and bought Bloodborne on sale on Cyber Monday. I've not been able to make it to the Second Lantern. What game should I get? I did end up getting Arkham Knight and loved that and did beat the game, minus finishing the Riddler stuff. But with no back catalog to dance around, what are the older PS4 hits that I can cash in on a bit of the cheap side? Thanks and rock on, Matt. So,
Yakuza Kiwami.
That's still pretty new. I think it's still a little bit on the. Let's see what.
It's like $30.
Oh yeah, but it started with a reduced price point, right?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of some of the older stuff.
Yeah, no, I know. I was just that was the first thing that popped to my mind. That's actually decently priced, and
it's funny playing Yakuza 0. Goro Majima is not a wackadoo crazy dude, and I'm like, what? This doesn't make any sense. Let's see here. I'm going to do a little life hack for you, Matt.
Until Dawn.
Until Dawn.
I really like Until Dawn.
So you can probably get that for a song.
If you don't like QuickTime events, obviously stay away from it. But,
sure.
Or you can watch the first part of Jeff and Brian Salisbury's Let's Play to see if it's up your alley. If you haven't watched that,
you could watch all of it and then do different choices from us and see what you can.
I just say watch the first one just to kind of get an idea of how the game is played.
Sure.
Trying to think of other like older PS4 games that are worth.
Okay, if I remember correctly, I think this person's last console was an NES.
Yeah.
So, GTA 5. So here's my life hack. Go to the Metacritic, search the PS4 list, and sort it by of all time, and you can get a pretty good listing of the highest scores that they have on their entire site. So I'm reading a lot of these is coming from this. Grand Theft Auto 5 will keep you going if you want a great GTA game.
That game, because it's still super popular, it hasn't gone down in price.
Originally dropped
it is
the price.
still $60.
Last of Us Remastered, if you've never played.
Yeah, if you've never played that.
Or the Uncharted collection are both going to be very good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Obviously, Bloodborne. And we were just talking about Witcher 3. You can probably get the Witcher 3 not terrifically expensive.
Yeah.
You probably get the whole thing for $60, like with the DLCs, which are both another game on top of the existing Witcher.
Yeah.
Let's see. I think John and I are both big fans of Overwatch as just a time killer.
Yeah.
That's there. I'm trying to think of
if you like multiplayer games. If you're not into the multiplayer thing,
right? I wonder. This is a good question. I was talking about it before, and I liked it. I wonder how much Titanfall 2 would end up costing.
I think it's like $20 now.
Let's just take a look in Amazon. Titanfall 2. Let's see what Amazon says for Titanfall 2. That's weird. Is it two separate words? Come on, browser. It says $30 new, $20 used. I bet you could catch it on a sale for cheaper than that. Oh wait, this is the deluxe edition. $10, $10.47 new if you have Prime. That's one that I really enjoyed. I mean, let's see. I'm trying to look for stuff that was not last year. That was like 2016. Dishonored.
Dishonored, the
2?
definitive edition or whatever.
Yeah, Dishonored 2 should have that with it.
Yeah.
If you can pick that up for cheap. Let's see. Obviously, I mean, I'm a big fan of, Dark Souls 2, Dark Souls 3, but you probably get those pretty cheap too. Let's see. Fallout 4-ish. I'm just trying to look for stuff that wasn't this year.
I'm also trying to think of what PS4 games I've purchased.
Doom.
Yeah, Doom's a good one.
Ooh,
And I think you can get that decent price on even on PSN.
Yeah.
Because I think they've had sales on it like recently.
I would just kind of take a look at what the stuff is. The Ratchet and Clank remake that came out last year. I really enjoyed that. I like all the Ratchet and Clanks though. I'm a real slut for Ratchet and Clanks. So one of the things that you can do is if you go to the PS4 store and look for the deals that they have. Let's see, all deals. I mean, here's Fallout 4 Game of the Year edition, which I think has all 6 of the DLCs for $36.
Yeah,
like Fallout 4 is not the greatest PS4 game of all time, but like that's not that much.
If you're also a good game, you could probably get a really good cheap discounted price on. I know it came out last year, and we would be Resident Evil 7.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure you can get that for a decent price.
Wow, Demon's Souls is $9.99 on the PS3. Yeah, so let's see what. So one more. I was looking for. Yeah, I think that's probably enough. It also kind of depends on what sort of games you like. Valkyria Chronicles Remastered.
No. Yeah, I mean it's a good game. Yeah,
it's like $20.
Yeah, it's 20. If you like tactical games, yeah, that's great. I love that game.
Oh, the first Shadow of Mordor.
Yeah.
Not
Shadow of War, but Shadow of
Mordor.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Ooh, good stuff. Yeah, Deus Ex, Mankind Divided.
Also, when you said Valkyria Chronicles Remastered, in my head I heard it as the spinoff.
Ooh, Hitman. I love it. I mean, maybe you don't like fun, but I think it's a good game to play. Let's see. Oh yeah, that Resident Evil HD. If you haven't had a console for a while, going back and playing the original Resident Evil, that was a good version of that. Yeah, Transistor, Pyre, Bastion, all those work out pretty well. I liked Watch Dogs 2 quite a bit.
Yeah, I liked Watch Dogs 2 as well.
Mortal Kombat X, really enjoyed that. Yeah, I would just kind of look through this listing, and you could probably get a good idea of some places to go. Anyway, so good luck, Matt. All right, so let's see. What are we looking at
and
here?
We're also glad we could make you laugh at a time when you needed it.
Absolutely.
Even though it was Amanda and Jeff, not me.
2 more questions. This one is one of the mean ones. Actually, I think this might be the only mean one. So this one says, "Dear Jeff, you son of a bitch, and Marvelous John. Firstly, where the fuck is the Instant Pot cooking video? Maybe you should sort your shit out and host some sort of dinner party. If you can get that idea through your tiny mind, you can always use that as a way to chat your shit with your wonderful Rage Select friends as you cook something. Then show us the results at the end if you can work out how to do that, ass." Anyway, hope that was mean enough. So a couple of questions. What video game are you most looking forward to this year? And what was the last thing you did that was outside of your comfort zone? And are you planning on doing anything new and scary this year? Thanks for your time. Brilliant, John. Go fuck yourself, Jeff. This is from Niall. And then P.S. If John is on, tell him that all the wrestling talk has managed to get me interested in it again for the first time since 2001. I'm actually going to go watch a local show near me next month. It says Gangrel might be there, which
cool.
should tell John what sort of level it is. So
yeah, local shows are always great.
Yeah,
if you are, I don't, especially like if you go in there like not expecting like WWE, like local shows are fun as shit because they do stupid, crazy shit that's hilarious and entertaining, and they usually have great matches. Yeah.
Okay.
they usually try to lure people in with like a name, like an old name, like Gangrel, or that you might recognize slightly from another promotion. But then like they'll have like they'll have like you'll see like indie darlings, and then also sometimes you'll see like what we refer to as weekend warriors, which are basically just guys who just wrestle in that one little indie promotion.
Okay,
they have 9 to 5 jobs every other day, and then every 1 week in a month they go wrestle in this little promotion and have no desire. There's no way they're gonna go to any bigger promotions or anything.
Okay,
some of those guys are great. It's great. They loved it. It's fun. It's a whole lot of fun. You're gonna love local wrestling shows. You should, after you go, you should email back and tell us how your experience was, regardless if I'm on the podcast or not.
Yeah.
But he asked, what games are we looking forward to
in 2018?
The biggest one is probably Red Dead 2.
Yeah, that's probably number one on my list.
Probably right below that is the new Spider-Man game.
So one of the biggest problems is that what I'm actually, if you ask me that question, I'm looking over the release list, and there's stuff like God of War, Spider-Man, obviously. Red Dead 2. Red Dead 2 is probably the biggest on my list.
New Valkyria Chronicles.
Yeah, I want to look through some of these. Is it Days Gone? Is that the one with the split screen?
Yes.
That one looks real interesting. I'm still kind of interested in that. This is a big old long list. Far Cry 5. I mean, it looks like more Far Cry, but I'm more interested in that just because I kind of want to see what the Far Cry devs do in the
American
environment. Whatever that new Metroid is, I'm interested to see what it looks like. Metroid Prime 4, even though I've poo-pooed it, I mean, it's still Metroid, and I like Metroid. Ooh, Bloodstained, definitely from that trailer that we had before. Really looking forward to Bloodstained, and Yakuza from the trailer that we had previously. Those are both. I'm really interested in those. And you know what? I was really sad that I didn't get into the beta for Sea of Thieves because as much shit as I talk about Xbox, I fucking love pirates, man. I watched that 6 Pirates of the Caribbean movie. It was bad.
It's really bad because what I would love to do, like if more of us had Xboxes at Rage Select, I would have loved to do an impromptu, like for the video that you eventually do of Sea of Thieves, and this is never going to happen.
Sure.
But if I had dream is that all of us who have Xbox Ones come over to Jeff's house with our Xbox Ones, and we set up, different if we need to bring a screen or monitor or something like that to connect our Xbox One TV to or whatever, do that, and then actually each of us have like a camera that you then
Sure.
And then it's all of us playing together over Jeff's network, so that we're not playing, and then also we're all being recorded from devices that Jeff can ensure that the quality of both the video and the audio meet all the required standards, and then put a video of that out.
Right.
That'd be amazing. Never going to happen because I think only me and you own Xboxes.
I'm trying to think of the other people that are on the show, and I don't know. Chris and Bryce both have PS4s.
Exactly.
Most people have PS4s. So, yeah.
So it's I think me and you are the only two people that have an Xbox.
Yeah.
And I don't.
Matt's got a PS4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know that many people other than me and you that would, because we also have to each individually buy a copy of the game. And,
sure.
And
it's actually funny though, because 2 people could work. I have enough. I gotta get my old capture box replaced, but if I got my capture box that can capture without actually being connected to a computer replaced, and then I have a second screen that I could just get an HDMI adapter to plug into a thing. I could have one person playing where my computer is and then one person playing on the TV that's next to it, capture both of them and record both people. That's possible. That could work.
I know.
But
that would be great to have a whole Rage cast doing it all at once. But obviously that's pipe dream stuff.
I think that it would actually be more interesting to maybe have a Rage cast where we had 2 people playing here and then maybe community people in with us,
Yeah.
Because that never happens, or I don't play on my Xbox One very much, so there's not as many times for people to hang out. Let's see. Oh, but to go back to what I was saying, there's a couple more here. Let me finish this list. Beyond Good and Evil 2. I'm interested in seeing more of that Untitled Avengers game that is being worked on by those people. I'm interested in that. There's a couple more of these that I feel like are are on this list. But the biggest thing, and the thing that I can honestly say, is that I can answer that question more. And what I'm most excited about, what I am most excited about this year is E3, because like last year, you remember the first couple of years of a console's life, it's like we're getting HD remasters constantly, we're getting sequels to beloved franchises at much times, but like I really want to see what that next From Software game is. Like, 2017 had the last DLC for Dark Souls 3, and then I guess technically this year we're going to have the Dark Souls 1 remaster, but that's not. They're just up-resing it, which is fine, and I'm going to be glad to have a version, and we'll play it at some point, but not all the way through. But I mean, well, start playing Dark Souls, and nobody can tell what's going to happen at that point. But I'm really excited to see new stuff. Like, I want to see if Sony puts out a new rev for PSVR, or at least those controllers. And like, what's on the list? Sony banked last year in VR. Like, they're committed to doubling the size of the software platform this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see new hardware revisions coming out. I want Microsoft to come out on stage at E3 and announce 6 new properties that are all AAA and they look amazing, right? Like that one year where they were just like bing bang, bing bing, boom 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 boom. So,
well, I will say, going back to the hardware revision for the PSVR, they actually have done one already.
Yeah, but it was mostly the box.
It was the headset. The headset apparently was a little bit tighter and a little bit. The screen was a little bit wider, like the field of view was a little bit, but not by much.
Oh, okay.
Like it's like.
I thought the only revision was the box to support HDR, because they did it small.
Well, that was one of the things, but it's the rest of the revisions was it was more of, they made the headset a little bit more comfortable, and apparently it's a little bit tighter.
That's good.
It fits a little bit tighter than the previous one, and I think they improved the field of vision by like minuscule proportions.
Sure.
Like the people I know, they're like, if you have one, there's no point in upgrading.
Right.
But if you're gonna choose one, get the newer one, because.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's, for me, E3 is exciting. I'd like to see Square's next. I'd like to see what Final Fantasy 16, or at least get a release date for Kingdom Hearts 3. I'd like a release date for Death Stranding. I tell you what I want from E3 this year more than anything is I want a gameplay video of Death Stranding, not a cinematic. I've seen the cinematics and they look amazing, but I want to see what kind of game is Death Stranding. I want to see what kind of game is From Software's next game. I want to see what is going on. I'd like to see a stage demo we won't see it at E3, but I'd like to see a stage demo of Red Dead 2. Red Dead 2 has had, one trailer, right? So
yeah,
I'm waiting for the next trailers, because Rockstar...
there's been 2.
Has there been 2?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because there was the flavor one and then there was the story one.
Yeah.
But Rockstar always puts out like 4 trailers before the game
and then
comes
because they delayed it, they released a bunch of more screenshots.
Right.
And it was just like, all right, that's screenshots, woo.
Yeah.
All right.
But, cool. I'd like to see what's Ubisoft up to this year. Are they going to be bringing back Rainbow Six Siege? Apparently is doing very well for them. I'd love to see Splinter Cell come back at some point.
Well, apparently they just pissed off their community for Rainbow Six Siege.
Oh, yeah. Well,
with loot boxes.
Yep, added loot boxes, and then they were canceling. There was like a $15 and then a $60 and a $40 version, and they were going to cut the $40 version out, and then they put it back in again because the community was upset with them. But great optics releasing loot boxes at this point, Ubisoft. But yeah, I'm just more excited. I'm excited to see what Nintendo is got coming down the pipe for the Switch. Outside of Metroid,
Nintendo Labo.
They've got that Fire Emblem game, I guess.
Yeah.
Fire Emblem Warriors. No, wait, that came out already. Did it? Oh yeah, it did. It did. I'm interested to see what other things make their way onto the Switch.
Yeah.
To be honest, but
I'm all about that Nintendo Labo. Let me build stuff with my cardboard.
You weren't on when we talked about that, were you?
Yeah, I was.
Oh,
no, I wasn't. No, that was Amanda.
Because I feel like it's a little pricey for what they're asking for, mostly because I can't look at the cardboard aspect of them and go, these are going to be fun, but then they're going to get fucked up, right? They're going to get destroyed.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I also understand the price because you're also getting a game with it. You're not just buying cardboard.
Right.
And also, the cool thing is that when you pop out the stuff, you can then use the pieces that are left as stencils for other cardboard that you may have lying around your house to create new pieces.
Okay, fair enough.
And even Nintendo admitted that that was the point of it.
Okay.
That you could like Nintendo was like, yes, we understand. We will sell refills, but you also know you can do this.
Yeah.
Like there's kind of like we realize this, and we realize people have cardboard lying around their house.
I don't know this entirely for Jeff, but I like it when Nintendo gets weird with it.
Yeah.
So. One last question. This one comes in from Greg. Greg says, hey, Jeff and John. Let's see. So I've been a loyal fan of yours for a long time and have been a patron for about a year now. I really enjoy every video you put out, and I want to continue supporting you, but lost my job last week, and I'll have to temporarily withdraw my monthly pledge. Hope you understand. I'm sorry I have to do this. Absolutely, Greg.
Yeah, man.
Ever
take care of you first.
Yeah, you do you, man. We'll be here.
Yeah.
I was employed at my last job for 3.5 years and thought I had some job security, but I was injured, requiring surgery on my knee. At the beginning of this year, my company decided to start doing random drug tests, and I'm an avid pothead, along with 75% of the other employees. Guess who got randomly selected for their drug test, though? Funny how life works out. So the question is, what advice do you have for someone who lost their job under these circumstances, and how would you go about finding a new job? Sorry for the long email. Appreciate everything you guys do, and I will start pledging again to you on Patreon as soon as I get a steady income. Thanks, from Greg. I don't really know. Greg, you should tell us a little bit about your skill set.
So here's the thing, and this is kind of it's I feel like an asshole for saying it.
Okay.
Because it's all I know, which is hit up the job search engines like monster.com. What depending, again, it also depends on what your job skill is, but like start hitting the pavement about what, where, who's hiring, where can I submit my resume, and just start just mass sending your resume to places that you think would be a good fit for you, or good jobs that would be a fit for you. Because literally that's every time I've lost a job, which has only been twice, that's what I've done.
Okay.
And I've almost always bounced back from it. Maybe I know one time there was a 2-month gap where I was just freaking out, couldn't find a job, and then finally the place that I really wanted a job at hired me, or brought me in for an interview, and I was like, yeah, we'll start you, but we can't hire you. You won't start for an entire month,
right?
Even though we're doing the interview process now. Okay, so I have to survive another month.
Yeah.
And then also there was a time when I lost my job and I knew it was coming. It was kind of one of those things where I knew that I was gonna lose my job.
On the wall.
The writing's on the wall. So I was like, all right, it's Monday. I'm probably gonna lose my job on Friday,
right?
Because shit's happening. Mass spam every fucking, because I do call center support, phone support, so I just mass shot every video game related, call center support, mass shot internet support companies, anything that was in something that I was remotely interested in.
Yeah.
And started getting, and literally started doing interviews, phone interviews immediately, even while I already still had my job. Still didn't even know I was going to lose my job.
Yeah.
Yet. And I was doing phone interviews, and then I got a call the day that I got fired, saying you got a job.
There you
go. I mean, and so again, I'm not a good source of reference because literally I just spam, and also, I'm in a town that is a tech town, a little bit, so a lot of customer service, phone support stuff is here in Austin. So it's that's my job. Of course, I'm going to find another job like that because we're abundant with them.
Yeah.
Whereas doing the same thing in a place like, I don't know, California, may not work.
Yeah.
Because their cost of living is so much higher, so they have to pay their employees higher. So they're a little bit less just hire anyone. They're a little bit more scrutinizing with who they hire. So it's that's the only advice I can give is just, take a day to breathe, take a breather, if you need to, sit at home for a day or two and then just start hitting the pavement hard.
Yeah. That's what I would say as well. As I've had some friends who have looked for other jobs, and the ones that I found that are most successful are the ones that basically just you just keep going. You may find one job that seems like the best fit for you, and that's the one to keep an eye on, right? But in today's day and age, there's two things I can say. One is exactly what you said: just keep sending resumes to people. Look for Craigslist. Look on local want to add stuff. Of course, I also haven't had a real grown-up job in a decade, so I can't speak to this. And when I had a grown-up job, it was an easier time because things were less stupid. The other thing you might look for joining, like if there's like a Facebook group. I know I'm part of a Facebook group here in Austin called Austin Digital Jobs that has stuff that comes through and people can talk to each other and stuff like that. It can be a double-edged sword because if a job goes up on Austin Digital Jobs, it means that it's going to be flooded with people looking for a job. The other thing that I would recommend is definitely look online at how to juice your resume, because there's a lot of places now where when you send your resume essentially has to make it through like a computer check before an actual human person will look at it. So you need to be able to fleece it with keywords that are specific to the job that you're looking for. So if your potential job has things like things where you like one of the things they want is a coordination, then you need to like make sure that you pepper keywords into your resume so that when it goes through their automatic filtering process, it doesn't get bounced for not having enough keywords in common. It's a new thing that's I find incredibly stupid, but that's another thing. There's plenty of places on the internet that you can look for that. But yeah, to be honest, like I said, I haven't had a real people job in a while. But from what I hear, it sounds like the fair amount of like the job market is better right now than it has been in a while. So get your resume polished off. John's right. Take a day and hang out. But the worst thing that you can do is, let me put it this way. Here's the easiest way to think about it. You have lost your job. Your new job is to get a job. You spend 8 hours a day. You're going to wake up, set your alarm, wake up, brush your teeth, get dressed, and then go to, quote, work. And your job is to find a job. So now 8 hours each day, look for a job.
Whether that's, scrolling through monster.com, whether that's, scrolling through, like you said, Craigslist's, or other websites that are job hunting websites or whatever, or going to a career fair or, a job fair or whatever the fuck they're called now. I think we have like Austin Job Fair like once every 2 or 3 months where it's just a bunch of companies in Austin basically, and you go and you can hand your resume to a bunch of different people and they can tell you like in person and they can kind of do the interview there. Those type of things. I don't know if any other places have those or if that's just something that's pretty much Austin because Austin's fucking weird. But
and one more thing. You finish first.
But yeah, so it's just literally for 8 hours, set up, even if it's not 8 hours, I mean, set up a time that where you're dedicated, you're only doing this, you're not focusing on anything else, and you're just doing that one thing of looking for a job.
Right.
And then, when you've finished your 4 hours or 8 hours or however long you've set for yourself to do it that day, then relax.
The other thing, and this is just a thing that occurred to me, having been a person who has had a lot of stoner roommates over the years, you might also stop smoking until you get a job, specifically because if
they drug test immediately.
If a job suddenly wants a drug test, you get a bite and they want you to come in for an interview, and at the end of that interview they want you to do a drug test. You don't want to have to worry about getting there's the stuff that you can get that'll kind of muck your urine or whatnot, or getting a fresh sample from a friend or whatever. Like, I don't know. In Austin, everybody fucking pee tests. So, like, it's one of those things where until you get a job, you're probably... And hey, you know what? That'll also be probably a great incentive for you to get a job, right? Is you're just like, can't smoke any weed until I get a job. Need to get a job so I can smoke some weed. And then you get a job, and then you can smoke the weed that you want. So... I don't know. That's about all I got. I don't know that much else. And that's all the podcast that we have this week. So thanks, everybody, for writing in, and thanks, everybody, for listening. And mail@ragesite.com is the email address. One more thing. Greg, you can do it. We believe in you. You got this. Go get a job. Find your favorite job and get one, or get any job. It's going to be great. You can do it. You can do it. You're going to be fantastic at it. There you go. And also all the rest of you who listen to this podcast, who made it all the way to the end. You're fantastic too. Congratulations.
You too can do it.
Gold stars for everybody. You get a star, and you get a star. And mail@ragelight.com is the email address. And that's it.
Ooh, stars.
That's Star Store, man.